week in the same day, all day, every day of the week. Having time out, we feeling lively. On the dance floor, where you gonna find me? Here comes the drop, it's time to party. Here comes the drop, it's time to party.
Babble out, call the priest. Back to life, I'm undeceased. Breaking the chain, unleashed. My true power released. Reach my hand into the stars align. Cause when I left it down to fate, it was taking up too much time. It's a miracle, it's a curse, I will not be deterred. If you predicted the worst, bon appetit, eat your words. Keep my score, fire the gun, watch me how I overcome. What they said could not be done, I did it, now sing it. The birth of a legend, the past tried to trap me too bad. My future beckoned, I crashed, and yes, I burned. Hardest lesson that I learned was how to take a fall and crawl back out the dirt. Now I'm back from the grave revived. Time after time, they tried to take my life, and still I wouldn't die. Survive, now come salute him. No man can dispute him. Back and I am biting, street fighting, Ryu Hadouken. What they said could not be done, I did it, now sing it. Oh, here I go, changing destiny, taking the road to my victory. I won't admit defeat, I'm making history like it's meant to be. When they said for me, say, no man can dispute him. Might as well salute him. What is written isn't done. Watch me how I overcome.
Lace up my shoes, time to get it. Put in the work, I'm with it. Paying my dues with sweat and tears. There is no weakness here. I ain't new to this, I'm a veteran. Wear my battle scars like a letterman's. I done crawled through the mud full speed, so I wouldn't underestimate me. That's a rookie move. Homeboy, I got nothing to prove. Team player, but I'm still self-made. I'm in it for the passion, not the parade. I don't need the lights or the cameras, just me and my opponent. All the work that I put in has led up to this moment. Let's go. You go hard, I go harder. You beat, I beat farther. You cannot match my speed. Cause I'm out of your league. I'm out of your league. I'm out of your league. Everybody wanna get like me, better reach for the stars, cause I'm out of your league. Game time, let's go. I hit that mark weeks ago. I'm about to laugh you up. Tell me, have you had enough? You would think I had a PhD in psychology. The way I get in your head, there is no escape. Like I said, I'm out of your league. I play fair, but show no mercy. Only give my time if it's worthy. Cause I keep my mind on a mission, and you don't fit the vision. I ain't cocky, okay, a little bit. I call it confident, but they can handle it. Don't blame me, it's just my time. So move, cause you're blocking my shine. I'm out of your league. You better go with plan B. You taking the crown? That's a fantasy. You can't step to me. I'm out of your league. Better beef up that defense. I give you an A for effort. Now hit the bench. You go hard, I go harder. You beat, I beat farther. You cannot match my speed. Cause I'm out of your league. I'm out of your league. I'm out of your league. Everybody wanna get like me, better reach for the stars, cause I'm out of your league. You go hard, I go harder. You beat, I beat farther. You cannot match my speed. Cause I'm out of your league. I'm out of your league. I'm out of your league. Everybody wanna get like me, better reach for the stars, cause I'm out of your league.
Put it on speed. put it on me, put it on, dump it on me, dump it on me, dump it on me, put it on me, put it on, dump it on me, dump it on me, dump it on me, put it on me, put it on me, put it on, dump it on me, dump it on me, put it on me, put it on me, put it on, dump it on me, dump it on me, put it on me, put it on me, put it on, dump it on me, dump it on me, put it on me, put it on me, put it on, dump it on me, dump it on me, we want it up, put it on, put it on me, put it up, dump it on me, dump it on me, dump it on me, put it on me, put it on, dump it on me, dump it on me, put it on me.
I don't need you to delay my shine. You know you can't rush no greatness. Sit back and watch while I take my time. Whole arena go crazy, look like I'm Hercules in my prime. You follow me, dog, and I make it. I pump too much iron in my grind. So long I've waited to take the night. Got no more patience. I think it's time. The man of the year, so you're right. I waited all my life and now it's showtime. I ain't got no room on stage for no amateur pop stars. Me and my clique don't fear trashing hotels like some animal rock stars. You opened up with a bang up job, but it's time for a real deal headline. Line so big that I can't find the end. I'm gonna kill this airtime. Don't get too comfy. You make the scene now, they gon' love me. I got the keys now, get your own seat. You must be senile if you think you tag along. I'm sorry, my friend, you pegged me wrong. You must be lost, man, your time is gone. If you think I give you the blueprint, you better be stupid or else you're deadly wrong. So long I've waited to take the night. Got no more patience. I think it's time. The man of the year, so you're right. I waited all my life and now it's showtime.
You already know what time it is, right? It's your boy Eclipse Darkness. I do this for my people. How I like that. I'm a black, strong man, they can't tell me nothing. What I represent, they try to keep it from me. I done turn a lot of nothing into something. And I'm still out here pushing all they buttons. They can't hold me down, yeah, for nothing. So I'ma stand up. They can't hold me down, yeah, for nothing. I'ma stand up, yeah, for something. Cause they can't hold me down. I done seen it all. Came up from the gutter, baby, now I'm here to ball. I've been talking, yeah, my ish, so now they wanna call. They got my line tap, oh yeah, they tryna take it off. Oh no, here we go again. Pull me over, let me guess, it's cause my melanin. Asking questions, me and you both know irrelevant. But I stay cool and collected cause I'm heaven sent. They hate it, I love it, they know that there's no one above it except for God. Steady be coming with negative energy, I gotta move and die. Give me that back, can't touch my crown, I'm a king and yeah, you know that. Talk about giving it back, I'ma come and take that. Yeah, I'm a black, strong man, they can't tell me nothing. What I represent, they try to keep it from me. I done turn a lot of nothing into something. And I'm still out here pushing all they buttons. They can't hold me down, yeah, for nothing. So I'ma stand up. They can't hold me down, yeah, for nothing. I'ma stand up, yeah, for something. Cause they can't hold me down. Yeah, they know I be about it. I don't do a lot of talking, come and see about it. They gon' try to keep it from you so you don't know about it. I'm a young pharaoh, pick it up and read about it. Here's your opportunity. Telling stories, yeah, to make sure they remember me. Can't hold me down, cause I leave behind a legacy. And don't believe them when they say they who they claim to be. They can't hold me down, yeah, for nothing. Stand tall. They can't hold me down, yeah, for nothing. Stand tall. I'm a black, strong man, they can't tell me nothing. What I represent, they try to keep it from me. I done turn a lot of nothing into something. And I'm still out here pushing all they buttons. They can't hold me down, yeah, for nothing. So I'ma stand up. They can't hold me down, yeah, for nothing. I'ma stand up, yeah, for something. Cause they can't hold me down.
Yeah. We be hot, mama got game. Check my team, we like the flame. We be bougie, y'all sound the same. We be, mama got game. We be hot, mama got game. Check my team, we like the flame. We be bougie, y'all sound the same. We be, mama got game. Yeah. We be cooking something new. Hear us knocking, coming through. Push the limit on them rolls, cause we don't do it like you do. We be cooking something new. Hear us knocking, coming through. Push the limit on them rolls. Yeah, mama got game. Mama got game. Yeah, mama got game. Yes. Yeah, mama got game. Rockin' the game. Hear them screaming, they screaming my name. We be up on the fame. We be all of the power, we reign. Rockin' the game. Hear them screaming, they screaming my name. We be up on the fame. We be all of the power, we reign. We be cooking something new. Hear us knocking, coming through. Push the limit on them rolls, cause they don't do it like we do. We be cooking something new. Hear us knocking, coming through. Push the limit on them rolls. Yeah, mama got game. Mama got game. Yeah, mama got game. Yes. Yeah, mama got game. Mama got game. Yeah, mama got game. Yes. Yeah, mama got game.
set the tone, yeah, I raise the bar. I go to work, I make it look easy. Play hard, work smart, like easy breezy. Sugar daddy, no, that's honey. Don't give him any sugar, he suckers me all his money. Wanna live lavish, you need a clue. Then look to me, I'll tell you what to do. Repeat after me. Confidence is key, and my keys all jingling. I can open any door, serving body, face, and more. Confidence is key, and my keys all jingling. I can open any safe, serving body, hair, and face. Now bring it out, it's your time to glow. You all the baddest, put on a show. Don't be afraid, let everyone know. Don't be shy, just lose all control and work it. Go hit a full split, tear up the floor. Go ahead, snatch those whips. Repeat after me. I am the vixen, I am the stallion. I don't need fixin', but I do need all your attention. All these diamonds on me, they glisten. When I talk, yeah, everyone listens. Cause I'm somewhat of an addiction. Now work those hips and thighs. You're out here changing lives. It's time, so let's get wild, 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 wild. And put in work. Work, 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 put in work, work, okay, work, work, today, work, work, today, work, work. Confidence is key, and my keys all jingling. I can open any door, serving body, face, and more. Confidence is key, and my keys all jingling. I can open any safe, serving body, hair, and face. Confidence is key, and my keys all jingling. I can open any door, serving body, face, and more. Confidence is key, and my keys all jingling. I can open any safe, serving body, hair, and face.
Number one in the street, so that one a bang bang. Everybody touch a road, everybody bang bang. That I wanna so neat, everybody bang bang, bang bang, bang bang. This I wanna so good, this I wanna bang bang. This I wanna so wicked, everybody bang bang. Sun a shining, everybody bang bang. This a bang bang bang, bang bang, bang bang, bang bang, bang bang, bang bang. Bang, 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 bang. Number one in the streets, so that one a bang bang. Everybody touch a road, everybody bang bang. That I wanna so neat, everybody bang bang, bang bang, bang bang. This I wanna so good, this I wanna bang bang. This I wanna so wicked, everybody bang bang. Sun a shining, everybody bang bang. This a bang, bang, bang. Bang, 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 bang,
La 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 la. Bin immer happy auf Fotos, doch im Blitzlicht der Strobo frag ich mich schon, wo du jetzt bist und vermiss dich so. 1000 Augen auf mir und ich schein immer zu lächeln und glücklich zu sein. Doch ohne dich fühle ich mich zwischen tausenden Leuten allein. Nur mit dir kann ich sein, wie ich bin. Nur mit dir. Wir tanzen so, als ob keiner zusieht. Ganz egal wo, zusammen sind wir mutig. Und wir beide drehen so auf, als ob es nur uns zwei gibt. Und singen so laut diese Melodie. Lelele, lelele, lelele. Flieg mit mir auf den Beat. Lelele, lelele, lelele. Als ob uns keiner sieht. Du bist mein Dojo, ohne dich bin ich solo. Zwischen Tokio und Soho denk ich an dich und die Sehnsucht ist so groß. Denn mit dir kann ich Luftschlösser bauen. Wir zwei sind immer ein bisschen zu laut. Ganz ohne Ziel, ganz ohne Plan. Mit dir durchzudrehen hab ich so sehr gebraucht. Nur mit dir kann ich sein, wie ich bin. Nur mit dir. Wir tanzen so, als ob keiner zusieht. Ganz egal wo, zusammen sind wir mutig. Und wir beide drehen so auf, als ob es nur uns zwei gibt. Und singen so laut diese Melodie. Lelele, lelele, lelele. Flieg mit mir auf den Beat. Lelele, lelele, lelele. Immer wieder repeat. Lelele, lelele, lelele. Flieg mit mir auf den Beat. Lelele, lelele, lelele. Als ob uns keiner sieht. Mit dir kann ich sein, wie ich bin. Nur mit dir. Lelele, lelele, lelele. Lelele, lelele, lelele. Wir tanzen so, als ob keiner zusieht. Ganz egal wo, zusammen sind wir mutig. Und wir beide drehen so auf, als ob es nur uns zwei gibt. Und singen so laut diese Melodie. Lelele, lelele, lelele. Flieg mit dir auf den Beat. Lelele, lelele, lelele. Immer wieder repeat. Lelele, lelele, lelele. Flieg mit mir auf den Beat. Lelele, lelele, lelele. Als ob uns keiner sieht.
And I'm out the beat. When they all look, everything on fleek. Word on the street, got my sound on repeat. Do it all day, every day of the week. Getting turned up, we feeling lively. On the dance floor where you gonna find me. Here comes the drop, it's time to party. Here comes the drop, it's time to party. Pad up the beat, with it all look. Everything on fleek. Do it all day, every day. Pad up the beat, with it all look. Everything on fleek. Do it all day, every day. All day, every day of the week. Every time out, we feeling lively. On the dance floor where you gonna find me. Here comes the drop, it's time to party. Here comes the drop, it's time to party.
Try to babble out, call the priest. Back to life, I'm undeceased. Breaking the chain, unleashed. My true power released. Reached my hand into the sky and made the stars align. Cause when I left it down to fate, it was taking up too much time. It's a miracle, it's a curse. I will not be deterred. If you predicted the worst, bon appetit, eat your words. Keep my score, fire the gun. Watch me how I overcome what they said could not be done. I did it, now sing it. The birth of a legend, the past tried to trap me too bad. My future beckoned, I crashed, and yes, I burned. Hardest lesson that I learned was how to take a fall and crawl back out the dirt. Now I'm back from the grave, revived. Time after time, they tried to take my life, and still I wouldn't die. Survive, now come salute him. No man can dispute him. Back and I am biting, street fighting, Ryu Hadouken. What they said could not be done, I did it, now sing it. Oh, here I go, changing destiny, saving the road to my victory. I won't admit defeat. I'm making history like it's meant to be. When they said for me, no man can dispute him. Might as well salute him. What is written isn't done. Watch me how I overcome.
Lace up my shoes, time to get it. Put in the work, I'm with it. Paying my dues with sweat and tears. There is no weakness here. I ain't new to this, I'm a veteran. Wear my battle scars like a letterman's. I done crawled through the mud full speed, so I wouldn't underestimate me. That's a rookie move. Homeboy, I got nothing to prove. Team player, but I'm still self-made. I'm in it for the passion, not the parade. I don't need the lights or the cameras, just me and my opponent. All the work that I put in has led up to this moment. Let's go. You go hard, I go harder. You beat, I beat farther. You cannot match my speed. Cause I'm out of your league. I'm out of your league. I'm out of your league. Everybody wanna get like me, better reach for the stars, cause I'm out of your league. Game time, let's go. I hit that mark weeks ago. I'm about to lab you up. Tell me, have you had enough? You would think I had a PhD in psychology. The way I get in your head, there is no escape. Like I said, I'm out of your league. I play fair, but show no mercy. Only give my time if it's worthy. Cause I keep my mind on a mission. And you don't fit the vision. I ain't cocky, okay, a little bit. I call it confident, but they can handle it. Don't blame me, it's just my time. So move, cause you're blocking my shine. I'm out of your league. You better go with plan B. You taking the crown? That's a fantasy. You can't step to me. I'm out of your league. Better beef up that defense. I give you an A for effort. Now hit the bench. You go hard, I go harder. You beat, I beat farther. You cannot match my speed. Cause I'm out of your league. I'm out of your league. I'm out of your league. Everybody wanna get like me, better reach for the stars, cause I'm out of your league. You go hard, I go harder. You beat, I beat farther. You cannot match my speed.
Won't stop going till a player on top know it. Rooftop, penthouse suite. If you really want it, gotta own it. Fight through it, we was at the lowest. Blood, sweat, tears, the components. Riding all year, now's the moment. We are not afraid, we are opponents. Yeah, come on, for mine, yeah. I'm making a play, the game on the line, yeah. I've been on the grind, yeah. I jump in the spot, I made it my time, yeah. Look in the sky, yeah. The stars align, no shade to shine. Can't stop it already, emotional, working devotion. We put in this time, look.
You won't stop my stride. I'll just break your line. I don't tolerate wasted time. Take us down, keep fighting.
The Snapdragon Pro Series powered by Samsung Galaxy is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, Monster Energy, and DHL.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the Snapdragon Pro Series by ESL. My name is Getting Q, and this is Terrence Icy Baby 1-2. Just to walk you through everything that has happened here at the SBS, we are on our very final day of the Swiss 6, and we're looking to find our next qualification spot. Now, just before we get into it, we did start a little bit late today, but that's only because we had a bit of an issue going on with one of the teams actually looking to qualify. And unfortunately for Daewoo United, they are going to be, well, they didn't exactly follow the rule book as stated, and they will be disqualified, meaning Archive Esports will be moving on to the next stage. They get a free pass!
Yes, long story short here, it's not going to be in a full Indonesia domination here for this segment, but we still have one Philippine teams making it to the next stage. So congratulations to Archive Esports. Feels bad for Dewa, but it's okay. It's all part of the rule book here. We have to follow our standard SOPs. However, the match that we are going to be showing up on screen is going to be a very interesting one here. But before we get into that, in case you missed out on format here, these are the formats for you guys throughout the entire journey for SPS.
Yeah, before we got to where we were at here today, we had qualifiers happening all over the regions of MYS, GPH, Indonesia, and Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, and 3 of those teams then moved on to the Open Finals, where they were paired up against 12 MPL invited teams and as well as the SPS season top 4. So with all of them combined into one big bracket, they're looking to make it into the challenge season. This is where it's going to get really tough. 16 teams in a double elimination format and another set of 12 MPL invited teams. And finally, if they want to qualify for the cash prize and gain all the glory, they need to make it to the challenge finals.
Exactly. Where during the channel finals, it is going to be live LAN in Jakarta as well. So there is going to be a LAN event down there. And of course, the best of the best from every MPL region is going to be competing there. So things are going to be very, very difficult from that point on. However, all things considered, I hope you guys have been enjoying our SPS finals as well, because this has been a pretty enjoyable one for me, watching every single Tier 2 teams competing against Tier 1 teams across the multiple regions.
I mean, there's obviously going to be a caliber disparity between a majority of the teams, but it's good to see some of the favorites and some of the standout players, which is very, very helpful for the region as a whole, right? Ah, man, I need to get a substitution from somebody from across the world. At least they know where to find them.
Exactly. It's great to actually showcase your skills as well, and potentially being scouted out as well by a pro team. But in this case now, this upcoming match here, you know, the final slot in towards the challenge seasons is where things are going to get a little bit interesting. It is going to be between Evo's Icon going up against Geek Slate. So this is where it is going to be a Tier 2 going up against a Tier 1 team. I feel that this is one of the most toughest moment for both of these teams, especially for Geek Slate, if you think about it.
I mean, it's going to be extremely tough, right? Let's have a look at the fallen teams who had to go just for these two to meet each other in the final rounds. From the Philippines, Maharlika, Mista, Z4 Pegasus, Game Lab, Zia, Minana, Euphoria, Onyx PH, and as well as TNC Pro Team all have been eliminated. From Singapore, all representatives have been cut down. Team SMG, Alchemy, SG, and as well as Evil before day number 3.
Exactly, and following by a next set of teams as well. They are going to be from Malaysia. We have MLBB Esports, Hello Heli, Team Hawk, Madness Esports, Red Esports, RSGMY. For Vietnam, we have Big City Boys, and for Laos, we have Nightmare Esports. All these teams has already played their fair share of games in this Swiss format, and unfortunately to say, they have battled it out with a bang, but it is going to be the end of their journey here. However, there is still Cambodia teams as well. We have Logic Esports, Team Max, See You Soon, and from Indonesia, Rebellion Zion, Bigatron Beta, Outer Ego X, and unfortunately to say, they were United Esports.
The path to greatness are upon the corpses of your enemies, and this is the true nature of competition. All of these teams have fallen, but that means 2 will rise to the occasion. And today's games is especially for a best of 3. Oh boy, look at our advance to the challenge season qualified teams. GPX, Aura, Fire, and Archives break through the pack.
However, now we have to witness our final team that is going to be joining this rank here to advance into the challenge season. Is it going to be Evo's Icon, or is it going to be Geek Slate? Because as of yet, we've seen so many teams being eliminated as well, and it feels like it is a very, very brutal journey. And it's interesting enough when you brought up that, hey, the path of corpses that they have to overcome. Being the best of the best in the world requires some, well, I would say skulls in this regards.
Well, let's see how many skulls they're going to be able to achieve in the best of 3 itself, because technically this is an ascension match, right? Let's look at the overall Swiss stage. We had a plethora of teams, and there's only 2 options for you. Either win your match or lose the match. And if you lose 2 times, you get eliminated. And as the days go by, you can definitely tell those numbers get cut down super quickly around the 4th day and the 5th day.
Exactly, and now down towards the final day, 1 final slot left. It is going to be between Geek Slate as well as Evo's Icon. This is something that I think is going to be pretty interesting, because so far, based on the recurring trends that we've seen so far in the Swiss stage, Indonesia teams going up against Indonesia teams, it feels like the Tier 1 teams has a little bit more insights on towards the MDL teams, whereas for Philippines or any teams who's playing a different region, it feels like they're a little bit shaky just because they're not familiar with their playstyle.
Well, let's not forget that the majority of the MDLs are very recent, except for MDL Indonesia. They've been around for quite a long time, so they have more time to kind of develop themselves and set themselves up for victory. And I think even Geek Slate can recognize that, you know, there is something in Evo's Icon. They did win out in the MDL, and coming out of it as the champions. Now, here is the challenge season, what these 4 teams that will qualify will be playing up against. With the invited challenge season, we are going to be looking at Blacklist International, RGPH, Bren Esports, Team SMGMY, Homeboys, Yudu Red Giants, Team Flash, Bleed Esports, Alter Ego, RRQ, Bigatron Alpha, and CFU Gaming.
I'm a little bit lost of words here because of the fact that after seeing this roster in the challenge season,
it doesn't get easier.
It feels really scary to go up against these teams and the Tier 1 teams. And on top of it all, like you said as well, only 6 teams will advance into a channel final. So
2 teams actually.
2 teams for the last chance. So it's 4 teams from the challenge season, and then there's the last chance to qualify. So total of 6 teams.
Yes, then you are correct. Now, the format is going to be as shown up on your screen. These eventual teams will get put into 4 different groups. They're going to battle it out against each other, and 4 teams will qualify, with the rest of them battling out in the end for the last chance to get those 2 slots.
Yeah, so speaking of this as well, you know, those who are playing from the Open Finals here, they may be going through this gruesome battle that we have been seeing for this past 6 days. I feel like based on this, they are also setting a benchmark for the meta itself. What kind of heroes would work, what kind of may not be work as well. It gives a little bit more information for the rest of the top tier teams who's going to be waiting to be playing in a couple of weeks' time. So in this case, it feels like it is very brutal to teams who are not in MPL. It feels like it is a very, very long climb. And it feels like if they don't get through this, the chances of them actually standing a chance to actually make it towards winning a prize pool is really, really far. And on top of it all, it feels like they need this opportunity.
That's the whole reason why the SPS is around, to give that opportunity to show their stardom in one of the most brutal formats we've seen thus far. It's very, very equal, but what are they playing for? It's not just the glory, it's not just for the qualification spots, it's for a big cash prize right at the very end. Keep in mind, out of these 4 stages, you need to make it through all of them and get to the end, unless you're an MPL invited team, and you've pretty much already secured yourself a little bit of the pie.
Yeah, now, speaking of this as well, I want to talk a little bit more on yesterday's games, because we are going to be jumping into the highlights with yesterday's games thus far to see how things went down with yesterday's games.
Yep, let's have a bit of a recap with it. I think, you know, some of the more outstanding games that we did get to see. Well, oh man, the name of the team, it's not coming up to me. You know what? The only way that I could refresh it, let's throw it over to our video.
But no inhibitor, but look at the damage, the range on those dolls, just incredible. But what damage? What?
Oh my god.
Juga ada yang masuk di arah mid lane. Hayabusa pun terkena last hit karena Ryujin membuat dia tumbang terlebih dahulu. Yang berarti sisi power sudah mulai terkurangi, tapi lagi dan lagi ada flicker yang dilakukan oleh Veldora menuju ke sana, membuat Iso pun tumbang begitu cepatnya. Ditambah lagi dengan Yoshigat. Tersisa hanya Venogod dan juga Hesgat saja di battlefield sekarang. Tapi ternyata Venogod masih belum cukup selesai karena Veldora dan juga Choma ditumbangkan dengan begitu cepatnya. Susujin mencoba untuk sekuat tenaga melarikan. Iya, tapi lihat bagaimana dari segi darahnya Sensu sudah kembali lagi ke sana dan bahkan Kikidot menjadi target utama, begitu pun juga dengan Nets. Di mana Netsnya sudah mulai terkena sisi power. Langsung flickeran depan, Keys pun masih bisa bertahan, tapi yang tidak bisa bertahan adalah Dixon. Begitu pun juga dengan Shekomon. Keys pun harus pulang terlebih dahulu. Brody pun dari Azuras kan juga pulang, yang berarti Lord akan dimiliki oleh teman-teman dari Onyx PH.
Gusto niyang unang bigyan, mga kaibigan, hinahabol lang dito si Mikey, pero the bloom is there. Pero pinupush na to. Pinupush na ng Archives Esports. Ladies and gentlemen, now naiwan sa likuran. Sino yun? Laser pasok. Wala kang purple buff. Napakatapang mo. Yunami bagsak. And gusto na tapusin to ng Archives kahit wala pang Lord. And 2-0 para sa side ng Team Philippines.
So here's today's schedule with the matches that have already concluded. The Archive Esports getting that free bye against Dewa United. They'll be moving on and already qualified. So the one that we're going to have our eyes upon is match number 2. EVOS Icon versus Geek Slate. A Tier 2 Championship MDL team versus Geek Slate. Didn't exactly have the best season in the world, but they're no slouches either.
Yep, EVOS Icon, they had a very, very difficult game in yesterday's performance as well, but for them to actually make it down here means that they haven't given up yet. However, this time the biggest obstacle here is going to be Geek Slate, a Tier 1 MPL team thus far. And Geek Slate, we have seen their performance as well, their ups and downs. There were a few close calls coming in from Geek Slate, and now they're just one step away from actually making it towards the challenge season.
I'm just curious if Beloyski's going to whip out that Saber Roam again.
Oh my god,
man,
really?
Right? They whipped it out 2 times in the SPS so far. Both times it looked like it was doing terribly, but their team still wins. So is it bad? Tough call. It's currently at a 50% win rate.
To be honest, I really hate the Saber. We had a little bit of a classic game just now, just seeing a Saber just constantly focusing and destroying me. It's just extremely frustrating to play against, but it is a completely different playstyle because so far Geek Slate has one of the most unique playstyles when it comes to those kind of double roam strategies, right? Like if you see, mostly it's gonna be tank meta. Sometimes we do see occasion double mage strategy, but when they bring in the Natalia, it changes the dynamic on how they actually play the sides as well. But of course, speaking of the prize pool here, this is the prizes that all teams are going to be looking for when they make it into the challenge finals.
A total of 150,000 USD on the line, and if you make it to the challenge finals, you're basically guaranteed a cash out, even if you go out of the tournament early. Not as much as first place, but man, after working so hard, I'm really hoping to see one of these 4 teams from the Open Finals make it past these 2 stages.
Well, there is 6 slots, so technically, you know, I was hoping at least one of them actually makes it. You know,
I'll take that. I'll take that.
If it's 4, I feel it's a little bit of a home stretch, but I do want to see a dark horse actually making it all the way and win it all. Because so far in the history of Mobile Legends, technically, we haven't seen a true underdog story all the way from the bottom and winning a world title.
Well, I mean, I think the closest one that we've had prior since was S10 during M1, right? Unknown region comes in through, a bunch of boys who wanted to play together, ends up doing very, very well, but then we never get to see them once more. So hopefully we don't have a similar legacy. We want to see these teams shine. We want them to see them rise up to the top of the ranks. And honestly, I'm very happy seeing members who played in the SPS actually being adopted by other teams in the MPL.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good sign as well, because it just shows you that it provides a little bit of an ecosystem for very healthy competitive environments, because you don't just draft it off scrims or friends, etc. You also have it opens up opportunities and options for talent scouts as well in particular. But of course, if you guys want to find out more about these teams here, guess what? We have tickets actually available as well, where you can actually watch the live event for Snapdragon Mobile Challenge Finals on the 21st to the 23rd of July. It is Sora Senayan, Jakarta.
Yep, that's where we had M4 the last time. So if you missed out M4, want to still get the vibes while still being part of an international tournament, then you've got a date to set, because 20,000 rupiah is going to be for the entry ticket. That's it. It's so affordable, super cheap, and it sounds crazy, but just convert it and it'll make a lot of sense. So check it out at esl.gg/SPS MLBB tickets and keep your dates open. But that's not all, right? Because while this is happening, while the SPS is going on, MSC is just around the corner. So you can secure your tickets now and go for one international event to the next.
Okay, here's a little bit of a very interesting one as well, because we also have another event called MSC 2023. It's all the way in Cambodia. You can actually secure your tickets right now by scanning the QR code, and you can book your tickets now in advance. It's absolutely free, but it is going to be all the way in Cambodia. But here's a little bit of a fun thing, right? If you guys are planning on something big, you guys want to make it very, very special, it's just an idea, you know? It could be a possibility. Maybe a marriage proposal in Jakarta, you know? It sounds like a pretty good idea.
Nope, not even interested.
Dude. We had one dude that did in Singapore, man.
Yeah, but it's Singapore, so.
That's the thing. In front of the world stage, where all eyes, everybody come here to witness a beautiful proposal.
It better
Pretty
be
good idea, right?
It better be good. It better be a smart proposal.
If you think about it here, you know, if they're not like, if the couples kind of met through its game, it will make a beautiful story, you know. Oh, I proposed her because I met through a game at MLBB, blah, 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 you know. Just throwing out there. I'm sorry. I'm just But now, let's talk a little bit more shop here. And when it comes to heroes here, let's talk a little bit more on how things have been changing before day 3 and day 3, when day 3 as well as day 4, when it comes to the hero patches before and after Novaria being made into its play.
Yes. So day 3, after day 3 is when we got to see the legalization of Novaria. And let's see how it really changes up the matchups, and especially when we start talking about the overall effect that it's had on the meta so far. We've only seen a couple and very slight changes, right? Wanwan is still going to be #1 next to Joy, next to Fanny as well, but we have seen a bit of fluctuations with a couple of those matches. Now keep in mind, not every single one of these matches is going to call for these heroes, but it gives us a good estimate, with Kaja and Glue being 4 and 5 before day 3, and Yves and Kaja skyrocketing after the patch.
Yeah, and seeing Novaria being picked in as well when it comes to day number 3 just shows you that this changes the complete dynamic into this game. However, I was actually curious to see how Digi was going to fit in the pool, because Digi was kind of banned day number 3, right? Day number 3. And then we actually saw a couple of games yesterday, didn't exactly do too well. So when it comes to Novaria, it shows that people are still trying to play around it. We saw some good games here and there on stream. So far on the English broadcast, we haven't seen a very convincing Novaria. But let's see how the top picks look like then.
Yep. In terms of the top picks, we're seeing Valentina, Fredrin at the top after day 3. Fredrin was still already very good, but Beatrix definitely more of a favorite. And if there's any other comparisons that need to be made here, we don't see Novaria at all within day number 3 onwards in terms of the top picks, right? Even Lapu being more important.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising to see how it kind of changes the dynamic of the playstyle, but it feels like Valentina being a priority makes a lot of sense, right? Because of the fact that Valentina kind of shuts down a lot of the hero pools in terms of play styles when it comes to choosing their majors, right? Like, because you ban Novara, it opens up certain heroes with a pool, and when you pick Valentine, it's always safe to play around it. So it makes a lot of sense why it becomes much more of a priority compared to a Fredry now, which arguably, even though it's flex, but I feel like the emphasis on the mage role has become much bigger now because of this Novara lift.
It is definitely opened up a couple of different avenues of openers, but the biggest notice that I'm seeing here, right, is between Arland as well as Carry. We're seeing them 4 and 5 after day 3, and in that same position was going to be Claude and as well as Yves. So in this particular case, you're seeing that a lot of teams are putting more focus in what to be banning out, especially how the mid laners interact with the rest of the map.
What really surprises me that I was expecting a little bit more Claude because of the fact that as a marksman, it does contribute a lot in terms of mobility, right? Novara is the type of hero that's so far back, and we've seen a lot of these teams kind of adopt more assassin jungle playstyles to actually deal towards the back line. So I guess it could have been in a ban rate here. I think it was down at the bottom as well for Claude in terms of ban rate, but I want to see how things are going to go here. But this is going to be some information, you guys. Very rare we show this kind of information, and I want to shout out to production for gathering all this data if you think about it.
Now, that was the top 10 between top bans and as well as top picks. And as you mentioned before, yes, Claude was banned out pretty often, and usually we get to see it around the second phase picks. Most of the time, you would, if a team really is leading towards the gold lane, you would expect Claude to get banned out within the first 3, right? And once you see that, that's a very big indicator, a big red flag for everybody out there. It's like, yes, we're playing for our gold lane. We want to safe lane as much as we can, and maybe we can look for other different avenues. So with a lot of these scenes, where do you guys lie? You can let us know in the comments section where exactly you're feeling Navaria is going to be and how it's overall changed the meta. But coming back to this particular game, right? I don't know about Geek Slate. I feel like the way that Beloy has been playing, especially with the weird Saber picks once in a while, they're still winning out games. So I feel like Beloy is in this position where it's about IGLing, less about how much impact he necessarily needs to do.
I think the intent of having the Natalia pickup here, as well as the Saber, it works very similarly where it's come to a phase where it opens up rooms for strategies to play flank meta. So what I mean by flank meta is that heroes that can actually dive the back lines to actually chase people. In this case, when we are talking about previous patch, Farsa as well as Yves are heroes that are very far back, but it was very tank oriented. But after they nerfed up gold lane a little bit here, tweaked a little bit into the Molten Essence, it allowed a little bit more room for Hayabusa to kind of shine a little bit more, or even Natalia even to a certain degree.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of picks really are going to be, well, we're keeping our eyes on them. But let's introduce you the rosters for both of the teams playing up here today. It's going to be EVOS Icon to kick things off, an MDL Championship team with Eldora, Sutsujin, Crit, Doma, and as well as Ivan.
Wow, this is going to be something that I'm excited to see as well, especially coming from Ivan. He has showcased some really sick Kufra gameplay thus far, and he has demonstrated that he can actually set up to actually extend the back lines. And not once now, Ivan has been positioning himself in ways where he does play a flank style roamer rather than the traditional front-to-front tanker.
Well, we'll see how the draft is going to go, and then we'll start talking about the interactions. But I do like you mentioned Ivan, right? He works really well with Sutsujin. They're able to kind of manipulate the waves. They're able to, more importantly, influence the enemy jungle rather than just their own side of the map. And that's something that I've, kept in mind for EVOS Icon, and hopefully we get to see that in these upcoming games. Because look at the way they play, right? You can tell they want, if they need to fight, they will fight. They're very conservative, but more importantly, they're extremely clean with their movements.
Now, when it comes to EVO's Icon, Fredrin is arguably one of the flexible heroes, but not many teams are confident in bringing in the Fredrin XP lane. So EVO's Icon, they have had experiences to actually force Veldora to either play the traditional front-to-front, or occasionally they bring in the Yuzhong, where they switch up the roles, force him to play a flank playstyle rather than the traditional front-to-front. So I like that, well, they have this capabilities to kind of switch up roles in between in terms of the fights they want to take in this kind of gameplays.
I mean, that's just credit to just them having a good hero pool. But if we're talking about hero pool, we got to talk about Geek Slate. Here's their roster all the way from the MPL Indonesia. It's Luke, Hades, Aboy, Kadera, and as well as Beloyski. As much as I've talked about Beloyski, we need to talk about Hades. This man, wow, his retributions, winning a majority of his battles, pulling Geek Slate from some of the toughest spots in the game, and making a honestly an epic comeback.
Agreed. In terms of playstyle as well, Geekslate, they have had the leniency here because of Beloyski. They have this flexibility to kind of be annoying across the map, taking a lot of pressure you mostly away from Kadera, allowing Kadera to kind of shine when they need him though. So Geekslate has been playing around with Beloyski and Hades really well in the earliest stages of the game, which is very interesting to see how Geekslate kind of plays this meta.
I mean, Aboy, he's definitely a little very consistent in the mid lane. However, we haven't seen something crazy from him. It's the limitations of what is given to him in the draft, right? It's not like he doesn't have the hero pool, but let's talk about Ivan as well as Beloyski one more time. In terms of KDA, Ivan has had a pretty spotless record. Beloyski, there are times where it's great, other times where he's playing Saber, and that probably tanked his numbers.
Now, let's talk a little bit more on the KDA department. When it comes to the hero preferences here, obviously roamers, we talk about the traditional front to front, but let's talk a little bit more on the mage roamers here. Kadita coming from Ivan, Beloyski using the Natalia and Saber. Both of this, three of these heroes have very similar play styles when it comes to a roaming position, except for the fact that Kadita doesn't have the strongest wave clear or damage to actually threaten turrets, but they kind of work the same. They do play these flanky play styles. Ivan obviously had more successes with Kadita, but for Beloyski, it feels like having this Natalia and Saber jeopardizes his KD a lot, because not once now, multiple times, it's a hit or miss. You either one-shot the guy or you literally get one-shotted.
I mean, we say that, but he has higher GPM, higher DPM, and also, I would like to say higher DPM per minute, but then again, that doesn't really get the point across. The point is that Beloyski's stats, despite his KDA being honestly a decent average, right? Not above average, it's still good numbers to be putting out as a support.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, it just showcases that they have two very, very different play styles when it comes, sorry, not play styles, hero choices when it comes to executing very, very identical play styles. So I want to see a little bit more on how Beloyski handles it when he is faced with a front-to-front traditional tank versus tank roamer playstyle rather than the flank position.
I think you'd be confident with it. I don't know. What about you guys at home? Cast your votes in the Twitch chat live. And honestly, based on what we've been seeing towards the early days of the SPS, I mean, everybody was getting 100%, 100%, 100%. But as we continue going on, day 3 onwards, there are times where, you know, the chat technically misses the mark. It could just be fan bases, it could just be me, but that's something to notice. Now, what about our predictions here at the desk?
Now, when it comes to our predictions here, seems like I am going to go in towards a 2-1 for Evo's Icon, and Gideon Q is going to go 2-0. For me, personally, the reason why I go for Evo's Icon is because I want to see the underdog story. 2, consistency is key, because to be honest, you know, the reason why I voted against Geekslate was because of the fact that Saber as well as the Natalia, very, very risky heroes, because personally, I feel like using this is like a pocket strat, it's like a cheese strat, but when other teams start to realize this, it's easily countered.
Well, I think the Saber in particular, yes. I feel like the Natalia, Beloyski has been doing it for quite some time, so I think he's definitely got some tricks up his sleeve. I still think that Geekslate should technically take it 2-0, but this is all just, you know, pre-conditioning. This is all just me seeing them play at their best and hoping that that's going to be applied in this game. And if they do, I don't think Evo's Icon stands a chance, but I would love to see that underdog story. I would love to see that upset happen. With that being said, I do love Snapdragon. Have you checked out their new chipset here, the Snapdragon Elite Gaming? When winning matters, have you always had that moment where, why did my phone suddenly die in the middle of the game? Oh no, I'm getting some frame drops. When you have a Snapdragon Elite Gaming chipset, that's never going to be an issue.
Exactly. If you like multitasking and playing multiple games as well, you need the Snapdragon to actually bring you that elevated experience while playing on the Mobile Legends. And of course, we would like to thank Samsung as well, the flagship phone, Galaxy S23 Ultra, where you can share your epic and level up your gameplay on this phone as well. And not just that as well, it's not just smooth frame rates, it's not just good gameplay, it's not just multitasking or texting while playing Mobile Legends. You can also take pictures or capture your favorite moments anytime, anywhere you want with this phone.
Hopefully that saves you some kind of research here, but on your way to purchase that phone, have you even considered about Monster? Because there are days where the brain fog is so strong that it feels like everything's sort of faded, right? You need to be sharp. You need to be at your absolute best. So maybe get yourself a Monster energy drink today and unleash the beast.
Yep, when it comes to Monster Energy as well, it has kept us through all the energy. The reason why all us casters here from multiple regions, we have been able to kind of give you that virtual experience, that intense hype here. It's all courtesy of Monster Energy. So thank you so much for unleashing the inner caster beast, man.
And finally, one of our partners who have recently joined us for Season 3, DHL. And they're so kind because now they're taking a step forward by starting this initiative of the FE Bot Dash Cup. A very simple game to play, but there's 5,000 euros up for grabs if you can top the global leaderboard.
Hey, best part about this is that if you guys are not the players playing in this tournament as well, and if you guys want to compete in something, now's the best time to actually check it out as well, because 5,000 euros, not USD, euros, you are going to be competing with a lot of people, to be honest, because that world ranking leaderboard up there for #1,
it is sweaty.
Oh, it's really, really hard. But at the same time, it is 5,000 euros. If I tried playing it as well, it's extremely difficult. But if I figure out the meta on how to overcome those numbers,
there's a meta.
I would be very, very rich for about 2 to 3 months.
I mean, it's a good amount of money, but let's talk shop here between Geekslate as well as EVOS Icon. We got 49 seconds left on the clock. I think that EVOS Icon, especially if they don't win game #1, it's about that momentum, right? I feel like Geekslate is going to keep on moving forward with that first win.
Now, when it comes to drops as well, I want to see how they are going to be holding it up for now, because when it comes to Geekslate as well as EVOS Icon, do you think they have understood each other long enough because they've played in MPL as well as MPL, and because it's from the same region, they know how to play against each other?
100%. Like, Geekslate has performed in a couple of tournaments, maybe not necessarily in the professional league, but outside of that, right? EVOS Icons, they have been proven to be better than majority, well, basically all the tier 2s in Indonesia. So this is going to be a very important match to kind of see where their benchmark is. How much have they grown since the first time they went into the MDL till now?
Now, moments away from starting things off here. One final slot in towards the seasons. I want to see how the challenge season is going to be looking like with either of these teams, but obviously, you know, when it comes to experience, when it comes to strategy, it all comes down to a battle of wits as well as stamina. So in this case, a full best of 3 is going to be the way to go. And I think yesterday's game, we had a perfect example of talking about conditioning your opponents. In this case, do you think, because of the fact that Geekslate is going to be bringing in the Natala as well as Saber over this couple of days now, it has kind of conditioned EVOS Icon in a way that they are fearful with it?
We'll see in the draft. Unless they ban it out, I don't think so, right? I think, you know, the draft itself shows a lot about where their power rankings in terms of heroes, where their priorities, what kind of strategies they're going to be looking for overall, right from the very beginning, right? And until I get that indication, I feel that both teams are going to play, I'm going to steal a term from other titles here. They're basically going to default, right? They're going to play their standard gameplay, something that they know naturally and instinctually. That way their coach generally doesn't have to think too far apart about the individual team mistakes and start really looking for that counter draft in game #2.
See, that's the thing, right? When you mention default, I feel like when it comes to their playstyles, that's the reason why I actually voted for EVOS Icon. They have a much more solid default plan compared to Geekslate, but that's the thing, right? Different teams have different defaults. So I want to see how things go, because as of yet, the draft is on its way right from the get-go. Geekslate will ban off and respect the Kadida coming from EVOS Icon, but for Ramis, Melissa, 1-1 as well as group will be banned off on this first phase for now.
Interesting. So Geekslate trying to make sure that they don't have potential flex picks in the mid support section, but they also get rid of Melissa. It feels that Geekslate is a little scared of the AoE, or at the very least they want to play a hero that can get on top of the marksman. Potential Paquito, we'll see. This is all just speculation as we look over at EVOS Icon, waiting for them to finish up their very third ban, and they're going to bring it right down to the last one. Yes, Joy gets banned out. Now, Kaja is still available. Arlot is also still available. Farmus Glue have been banned out. All the artillery mages are available. Geekslate decide to go for this Min Sitar straight away from the get-go. Man, I would say it's kind of bold.
Personally, I'm not a big fan of the Mincetar first pick because based on the current meta, but Geekslay is pretty much one of the very few that prioritizes it and plays it on the XP lane as a damage Mincetar, which personally, you pretty much win your 1v1 matches up most of the time, but in terms of overall team fight, it feels very, very risky because it feels like Geekslay once again is leaning on this fact that they just want to go all in, burst one guy down and just mess up, and this is something that they have repetitively done because they demonstrated this Saber composition as well as the Natalia. So it makes a lot of sense why they still want to play this playstyle by banning off the Melissa as an opening, but now Evo's Icon, how do they handle this? It is going to be the Fredrin as well as the Valentina as a standard opening.
Yep, so King's calling on Geek Slate's side, and technically King's calling on Evo's Icon side as it can be stolen. It's a pretty big ultimate here, and based on what I've seen off of the MPL Indonesia, right, especially towards their playoffs, we did see an upsurge of Mincetar when it first was introduced, and I think that's the kind of play style and mentality that Geek Slate is walking into this, right? They want to have the best odds possible, and still Mincetar is very, very flexible. It can go into the EXP as well as going into the roam. If you want to throw it into the jungle, I think that's like a little too far, but hey, some people like it. I can't deny them that. Geek Slate, they're going to be locking in the Lancelot for Hades. I think that is a honestly phenomenal pick for him.
Now, let's talk a little bit more on the toolkits of what Mincetar can provide, right? Like, instead of, like I was mentioning from a Geek Slate's perspective where he does have habits. They do have habits on how they want to play this game, but in terms of opening up the options, Mincetar can't deny any kind of assassin junglers to try and flank the backline. You drop the perfect King's Calling, if an Hayabusa gets caught in it, it's pretty much dead in that regard. So it kind of stops Evo's Icon from going the kind of angle in that regards, but seeing that they've already opened up the Fredrin means that Evo's Icon, you know what, you're not playing assassins, is okay, we play the traditional front to front. It might be a plan, but I feel like Evo's Icon will strive better by playing I would say the tankier roamers rather than the flanking type of roamers.
I mean, they're reliable, but is it necessary, right? I mean, looking at Evo's Icon's overall lineup, I think that the Fredrin is still in a position of flex. I feel like Geek Slate in this particular side, they are setting up for a team fight comp. It's very clear, but more so, it is leaning more into the attributes of sieging their opponent. So I'm thinking the Beatrix is going to get picked up here for the side of Geek Slate. And the fact that Evo's Icon conveniently showed that Claude, even it works with the game plan that Geek Slate want to actually provide.
They really don't like mobility characters. In this case, Geek Slate, they don't really want Evo's Icon to have an answer to deal with this Lancelot, so I guess that's the reason why they actually ban off the Kufra as well as the Atlas, but Akai is still technically in the pool as well.
Not as good,
not as great, to be honest, but Evo's Icon, they need something to actually have a way to deal with this Lancelot, and forcing a Franco here, personally, I'm not a big fan, but isn't too bad if you think about it.
What else could they go for? Grok?
Grok, obviously, for the Farsa.
I mean, Grok just for the Farsa, but also just for the potential to try and catch the Lancelot. Even the knockup from the Wild Charge could buy that little bit of time that Evo's Icon needs to win out the Retribution battle, the 50-50.
Wait,
Hades has been winning out, and we do see the Arlot still, so it's going to be support Mincetar.
Okay, if I do recall correctly, a couple of days ago, they did play a Roam Arlot, right? Was it Geek Slate?
Was it Geek Slate?
I think it was Geek Slate that played the roaming Arlot and put the Mincetar at XP. Personally, I like the Mincetar on a roam position, but this kind of messes up in my head a little
I
bit.
think you're talking about Bigatron Beta.
Oh yeah, I think
Beta,
it's
right?
Beta.
It was High who was playing the Arla in the support section. I don't know if this is going to be the same case though. At the end of the day, it's up to Evo's Icon because Novaria.
Okay.
Novaria gets locked in here. 15 times banned. 8 times picked, looking pretty decent. High damage, but unfortunately, we haven't seen a win on it on the English broadcast just yet. I have heard that it has a couple of wins on the other matches, just not here.
Yeah, I want to see how it goes as well, because Evo's Icon, they do bring up this Novaria, brings so much vision control, it kind of limits the options as well. I guess that's the idea, expecting maybe they could have gone for a Natalia pickup, but they were pretty much last pick, so I'm very surprised that they got away with it, but I want to see how they actually play around this, because in terms of setups, there's only the Grok and the Fredrin as the initial setup to actually chain towards the Astral Recall.
I mean, we're making some big big assumptions here, right? Because at the end of the day, the Novaria is going to try to open up the map. I want to see how she attacks the side lanes. I want to see how she's, you know, timing her abilities to make sure she gets maximum effect, because that's the biggest problem in Novaria, right? You're waiting for her cooldowns half the time.
Yep, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, the final day for the SBS Open Finals here. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Geek Slate going up against Evo's Icon, with Geek Slate on the blue side and Evo's Icon on the red side.
Let's jump right into it here. I did see the Valentina walk up into the EXP lane, so she's looking to hit level 2 early with Grok and maybe turn things around very, especially for these upcoming Lethal Wanderer fight, right? No, it's too far away. It's way too far away.
Geek Slate, they are just going to be focusing on the goal lane once again. I was expecting maybe they are going to be setting up for the XP lane, which in this case, Evo's Icon is technically trying to condition down towards the bottom lane, but it seems like Geek Slate, they just want to play mid control, I guess.
I think Geek Slate, they just want to minimize how much Doma interacts with Kadera, right? And at the end of the day, even though Kadera technically should be able to win that 1v1 because of her passive, Doma is playing Avarice, right? So every time you have a little bit of pressure, Doma has to back away, and that means he is losing time stacking up Avarice.
That's the thing about this kind of Avarice interaction, right? Like any interaction is going to benefit the Avarice a little bit more because of their stats. They do have a hybrid regen. Let me double check real quick here. Does he have hybrid regen? Oh no, he doesn't.
No,
actually.
cooldowns.
Okay. He went for cooldowns. All right.
Yep, he went. The jungle.
Wait, he actually went for penetration.
Right. He decided to go. Yeah, I mean, of course, you got it. The most important thing, at least, he has movement speed. But Hades is going to find this easy first blood in that mid lane crit, just unable to get out of there in time with just the raw burst that came out from Hades. Now bot side getting affected.
A little bit unfortunate, but at the same time, they are going to force the issue down bottom as well. We have Eldora trying to go for the dive, but he will get picked off by the feathered airstrike. And the great Appraiser's Wrath is huge, but not enough to get the kill. Now it's going to be stranded all by his own, but he will be able to get out. But the final section comes in. Okay. Geek was not expecting that as well, but the rest of Evo's Icon has finally come in. But the snipe coming in from Ivan. It does connect, and Luke will pay the price. So they do salvage the situation a little bit, but Turtle will be contested right now for Geek Slate. They need someone to come in. Can they get Fredrin in time? But no, they don't. But Ivan! He gets the recall done again, not once. He saves the day for Evo's Icon.
2 for 2 for Ivan right now. 2 for 2, landing 2 impactful shots. 1 to get a kill. Oh my god, he nearly got a second one there onto Hades.
You know, it's funny how he's able to get those shots, but it's not over yet. Zutsuji, what are you doing? Ah, boy, gets a very nice trade off. Hi, Hades. Is he going to die? And Crit will kill him off with the stolen Phantom Execution. Now he's going to get hooked back. Can he get out to safety? This is a mage we're talking about, but the regen comes in. He's buying so much time. Can he survive? No, he actually forces them to commit to this as well. He's still alive, and that is going to be his final downfall. But space has been created for topside.
Yeah, this allows Ivan to kind of roam away from the mid lane, right? The mid lane gets cleared up. He instantly starts running towards the top side of the map. And now, unfortunately for Kadera, he's got to play a little careful, right? He doesn't expect to get hit by too many of these shots at the end of the day. But Evo's Icons need to start unlocking him. It sucks that he's stuck in that lane, but the longer he stays in it, the better. Doma, on the other hand, wants to be able to double this carry's farm by rotating around the map, and especially towards the mid lane to catch the wave.
Yep, now it comes down towards the gold plating as well. You can see it's a slight win into his Kadera's favor. He's got the Purify as well, which is a little bit interesting considering the fact that maybe he just wants to negate the slows coming from Novaria, might be even the Terrify or even the Wall Charge as well. But on side, Eldora is not having a good time at all against this Arlot.
I mean, it's a Grok matchup into the Arlot. Both don't really get too far. If they play it perfectly, it's pretty much not a non-volatile map. Both heroes shouldn't be allowed to kill each other. But look at how long Beloyski has been sitting on this top side, hoping to kill Doma.
Yeah, I guess it's going to be happening. But bottom side, he popped out as well. They can't on Luke as well. He's so slow that he cannot get out. So that's going to be a free B for Evo's Icon. Meanwhile, top side, Doma actually gets out with no contest. But the Turtle is going to be up for grabs as well. And as you can see, the Turtle going to be in favor of Evo's Icon, and Geek Slate currently has no position contest at all.
Can't do much about this. Evo's Icon have full control. A majority of Geek Slate members were on the top side of the map, and they were almost successful in killing Doma, but it was at the cost of a lot of battle spells, right? Beloyski having to use his Flicker and the King's Calling. They don't have their great ultimates, so therefore, neutral objectives, you shouldn't contest it.
Evo's Icon having so much range coming from the out as well. It's scary to see that, you know, despite not having a roamer that is going to be in your face checking, bush checking, they're taking advantage of this damage output that they have. But in this case, Geek Slate is going to be looking to try and return with the feathered airstrike, but it is going to be on cooldown for now. But oh boy, the snipes! It does stop Beloyski from recalling back.
Beloyski, luckily he does have the magic resist boots, so that's going to keep him alive for now. Hades on the opposite side of the map will not be able to secure this tier 1 as Veldora clears the wave. If we look at EVOS Icon, look at the amount of people in the mid lane looking to punish Kadera.
Kadera, he's gonna be scouted out as well. He's right in tier 2. This is a recall coming from Ivan, but Beloyski tries to retaliate as he drops the King's Calling, but where's the follow-up? He won't get chipped away by the Claude, but at the same time, EVOS Icon to get away with this kill and a tier 1.
Oh, Doma almost got punished there. He almost got punished. He switched over from his BMI very honestly, I would say that he switched positions with it at a good time. It's just that the Sphere of Glory is a little awkward. It does stop once it reaches its maximum length and then pull back. There's a very short period of time where it lingers around.
Yeah, it is going to be a little bit difficult. But purple buff contest once again. This time on this side, Doma goes in for a blazing duet. They find Beloyski, and that's going to be our boy being caught out by Veldora from the flanks. And Geek Slate, they are not in position to fight this at all. Luke, a little bit late to the party, and EVO's Icon now with their numbers advantage. They are going to try and potentially threaten mid tower. Nope, not going to happen. They are going to focus on objectives instead.
Yep, the turtle is going to be way more valuable for EVO's Icon here. So far, Geek Slate, I mean, unfortunately for them, they weren't able to get any lane advantages, unlike EVO's Icon. And now because of that, they're able to kind of spill that over for these takes on the turtle. Ivan opens up the map on the orange side, making sure that Geek Slate don't even come remotely close to it.
Yeah, cheeky boy there. He even tried to snipe off the purple, the orange buff. Unfortunately, not gonna happen. But with all this vision control and map control, EVO's Icon, they are gonna take a tier 1 down bottom, but middle lane here, a little bit threatened here. Geek Slate, however, takes a tier 1 up top, so there is gonna be trades across the map for now.
Can't do much about that. You only have so much pressure. You know, it's a very large map, and Hades now starting to adjust a little bit better to Ivan's overall skill shots. Now, Veldora, on the other hand, now that he's unlocked from his lane, can look to be making these big plays against the carry.
Oh boy, Hades so slowed as well with the hitbox coming in recall. Hades is no points gonna back off, but Veldora, is he gonna go for it? He's got the Master Assassin though. But does he wanna go for the kill? Unfortunately, that's not gonna be happening. Hevos still lurking around. They're still trying to make sure that Doma gets his farm up top, and Geek Slate, they're just letting this happen for now.
Can't do much about it. They have to play as 5. That's what their team composition is dedicated in doing. But EVO's Icon, just look at the EXP that they've developed for themselves, right? Citrugen, a level above Hades right now. Our boy, even with Ivan, but not at the same time, crit. Oh my god, they're actually gonna get this.
No, actually he's gonna get out as well. They are gonna hold on for now, but at the same time, EVO's Icon, they finally realized that by hovering down to his middle lane, Kadera was able to get so much value down bottom lane from the farm and half HP on this tier 2. So this kind of opens up a little bit of opportunity for Geek Slate, but the orange buff gets stolen by Citrugen.
That's what you want to see. Jungglers get ahead. Oh, Beloy!
Oh my goodness, the King's Calling drops onto his Doma. He is going to be the point of interest. They focus him down. They get the kill. Now, the Astro out coming in will slow it down, but they just can't finish off the back lines, and they only be able to catch up Luke. The snipes come in. Nope, doesn't connect, but they will trade another one with Luke as well. But Geek Slate, they have to run off, and EVO's Icon, how are they getting all these kills? Ah, boy, he's stuck against the 1v1 with Citrugen as well. Ivan missing the shot, but eventually Crit will finish him off, and a 3 for 2, and they're still looking for more. Kadera, is he going to be able to do so much? Nah, I don't think he's going to be able to do anything about this.
What EVO's Icon is especially good at, it's stuff.
Oh boy, Ivan, he's got the get. Okay, he's fine, he's fine.
Thank goodness, the bottom jungle was completely cleared out. Now, as I was saying, EVO's Icon, what they're really good at is just overall staggering your death timers. So everybody spawns at a weird time.
And Final Slash actually catches on Crit as well with the Lord down to his 20% HP. Do they get it? Yes, they still secure the Lord, but at the same time, EVO's Icon, they They are going to collapse at Loisky as he is going to be the first to fall. Gig Slade used up all their utilities to fall this fight, and now with the Astro All coming in, he might be in trouble. Hades goes for the side step. It's going to be fine. It's fine. It's fine.
He's okay. He's okay. With lore pushing now, EVOS Icon need to develop this into at least the 6k goal lead. If they get an inhibitor, that's like way more than they were asking for. But all the outer tier turrets, that's definitely possible.
At the same time, Feather Airstrike is going to be used to try and clear the middle lane here, but this tier 1 now middle is going to fall. They do catch one straggler here. Luke is going to be focused down. He's trying his best to buy time for Gig Slade, but guess what? The rest of Gig Slade, they just completely let him to die.
I mean, what were they realistically going to do, right? Beloyski still needs to have his flicker available if he wants to make some kind of crazy engage on the EVOS Icon, right? Until then, you expect him to play a little bit behind. He's not exactly the tankiest boy in the world, but that King's Calling is just too powerful of a spell to waste without the flicker.
Agreed, but let's take a look at the items real quick as well. It seems like, like you said as well, Beloyski is still very far off with his items here. He's actually going for a hybrid attack, a physical attack as well as defensive build. So he's, like you said as well, he's not super tanky. So I guess they're buying time for Beloyski to be able to face check this.
Buying time for Beloy. I don't think they need to buy time for Beloy, right? I think what we need is that carry to have that 4th item, to get that Winds of Nature, to be relevant in these fights and survive a blazing duet from Doma.
I guess, but the Spear missing as well. EVOS Icon looking to knock on those inhibitors as well. They have this level lead as well as gold lead, but now they make a tap. King's Calling comes in, Beloyski. They focus on, boy, no, what, how? Feathered Airstrike was completely negated, and now Beloyski, they are going to get dagged in by EVOS Icon with Doma going to go for the kill. Hades tried to go for a kill. Unfortunately, he will get picked off by Doma, so that's going to be a 3-for-1 nothing exchange.
That's for Novaria for you. You're standing still. Oh boy, it's target practice time.
Oh boy, that is scary. Gig Slade, they felt like they had a little bit of hope, but EVOS Icon, they have bigger objectives on priorities, or clearer priorities in this redot.
EVOS Icon didn't exactly get that 6k goal lead that we were looking for, but then again, they can still develop this even further. Geek Slate, hold on for now, no inhibitor losses, so they're not at a disadvantage macro-wise, they just have a lot less vision room to play. But let's look at that one more time, right? Oh, so we see that crit, we do see that crit decides to go and steal the feather to try and make that play himself, but then Ivan, he notices, wait a second, that feather airstrike is going to hit my whole entire team, and there's a very clear pathway towards it. He shoots him at max range and chunks him out completely.
That's crazy. That is crazy for this, I would say Farsa. I feel like Aboy is not having the greatest game, even though he's got 6-3-0, but that defense looks really solid for Gig Slade.
I think Gig Slade, they just need to adapt to it, right? Somebody needs to be able to face tank it, and I think in this case, it's going to be Luke.
Now, I'm curious to see what Ivan has as well, because in terms of itemization, I think he has like Quantum Destiny, the Lightning Sugar, and the Divine Glaive, so that's a lot of damage only the first 3 items. So not the traditional item we're talking about, but it is going to be full burst. However, they are going to collapse on this fight. The King's Calling has been dropped, but the EVOS Icon, they just tank through it. They pick them all bit by bit, and now the Lord is still going to expose. Hades, he finally goes in for the push, but he have the damage to steal the Lord? No, they don't, and EVOS Icon, just like that, tree goes down. The Astro Recall finds Luke as well, but Geek Slate, it's going to be a tough defense for this fight.
It really is going to be a tough defense for them. I thought that maybe Hades was going to pull it out from his pockets once again and win out that Retribution fight, even though he wasn't supposed to. EVOS Icon don't even give him that opportunity. This inhibitor will fall, and let's see if they can crack this base open.
Yeah, with the Lord down to 100% here, Hades going to be back in 10 seconds. It's going to be 4v5. EVOS Icon, they are going to try and make a play out of this, though. Ivan doesn't have the Astro out yet, but they are going to go for the final slash. Look, he goes in for the beginning here. They do burst down Ivan, a big catch coming in, but now EVOS Icon, they're stuck in this damage. It was Solar Fighter Session kind of making this fight, but Geek Slate, they will be able to pick them off. Kadera somehow survives. He actually trades off with the Claude, so this buys them a little bit more hope, but EVOS Icon, he needs to back off. Hades, he wants to fight Sister Jin, but Doma is just so strong right now. He's just auto-attacking his way through, and it all comes down towards a 2v2. Luke, he's going to try with better that's right, but Doma, he doesn't have the cooldowns to back off in that fight, so that's Geek Slate holding on.
Oh man, he didn't realize how close Aboy actually was or the overall range of the feathered airstrike. He thought he was safe. He couldn't even see Aboy on the map at that point in time, or he was just so far away on that corner that he didn't think it was going to matter, but unfortunately, it did. EVOS Icon finally making the first blunder in this matchup. More importantly, so they're still at a 5k goal lead, right? So it's not the end of the world. Geek Slate is missing a mid inhibitor, and in this next 85 seconds, they have to deliberate how in the world are they going to crack open EVOS Icon, because so far they've been playing front to front.
It's crazy, but so far the biggest threat, it feels like it is going to be Ivan, right, on this Novaria. Like, Geek Slate, the only reason why Geek Slate kind of won that was because of the fact that Luke was able to catch Ivan in between the fights, and because Ivan wasn't able to contribute to his fight, it's crazy. So, in case you missed out action here, yeah, you can see, based on this recap, instantly with the combo final slash catching everyone from EVO's Icon, allowing for major stunts in these setups.
Yeah, just getting pulled back into the middle of that turret, especially when you're on the push as well. EVOS Icon just didn't want to fight there, but Geek Slate were able to kind of push their agenda and actually execute upon it, right? If you look back at the current situation live, though, I think that, you know, overall, Geek Slate probably could be looking for more ways to maybe even out the score, and especially since they hit the power spike, these tier 2 turrets.
Oh boy, now the Stolen King's Calling coming from crit as well. He's gonna get pulled back. He will get bursted down. He tries to stall them down, but they're pretty low. Geek Slate, they need to make a run for it over here. Doma finds the ones on the sides, but at the same time, Geek Slate, they are getting picked apart. Evos, they are giving chase. And Kadera somehow gets the recall back, but he will potentially lose Luke. But no! Luke! He actually turns the tides and trades one for himself, and he's buying time for the rest of Geek Slate. But how long can he call on? They are bringing in Doma with the final slash comes in. He's looking to kill potentially Doma, but the Winds of Nature keeps Doma alive. While Geek Slate, they shift their focus. They are going to try and steal the Lord right under the noses from EVO's Icon. Sutsujin sees this, but he does have the Retribution, but Hades takes it, and now all they need to do is get out. Kadera in an awkward position. Wall charge from Wildora catches him, but the Winds of Nature will allow him to disengage. Hades at a slimmer of health, but EVO's Icon, they lose out the Lord trade.
The chemistry from Geek Slate, impeccable. Impeccable. 2v2, they see what's going on. They realize that EVO's Icon are going to start collapsing on them. They secured their Lord. Hades winning out is 50-50. Also, with just the raw power coming in from Kadera, he could time it a lot better. EVO's Icon, unfortunately, even on the chase down, Geek Slate managed to save a majority of their members, knowing that Claude is going to burst down Kadera immediately after the Winds of Nature, so he has to slow down. Susujin Doma as well as Crit.
Oh boy, Geek Slate, this is an opportunity for them, right? Like, they're doing so well, and we're talking about buying time here. Loyski starting to hit a little bit harder than I was expecting as well. He actually has a Corrosion Scythe and the DHS, and it seems like, you know, when he drops the King's Calling, any mages getting caught off from EVO's Icon is going to potentially get dropped as well. Astro Alt has been used as well for the Novaria. The tier inhibitor is going to be getting chipped away, but Geek Slate, I think they will back off, but not getting the inhibitor, but they will settle down in the middle fight as well. They caught out Wildora. Do they have the damage? Fantasy execution being used. Wildora chips away and lose the first immortality. They are going to try and kill him off, but Wildora, can he get out? He is buying a little bit of space here, but Hades, he might be caught out as well. The stolen final slash will get him, and that's going to be Geek Slate losing 2 in this trade-off.
These fights are getting messier and messier here. EVOS Icon, they managed to pull 2 back into their pockets. 25-14 current kill score, but the gold lead doesn't even matter. Geek Slate has gone past the hardest part of the game and now are looking to pull it against EVOS Icon in the ultra late stages. 72 more seconds until the next Lord.
No, Doma still very top in charts as well, so it's going to be a battle between both Kadera as well as Doma. But seeing the items here, Winds of Nature is going to be available up on both sides, I guess, based on this fight. Yeah, they do have it, so that's going to be a very important factor. However, EVO's Icon, they take another inhibitor up top, so that's going to be 2 lanes shoved in for EVO's Icon.
Let's see how they play it out, because Aboy now finally has the items, the economy to actually one-shot a majority of the members of EVOS Icon, right? If we're looking at the items as well, I'm not seeing much MR. I'm seeing 1 Athena Shield from Sutsujin. I'm seeing 1 more from Veldora, but that's about it. So that means 3 members are susceptible to the Feathered Airstrike. Keep that in mind, right? Because I think this is going to be a very big moment for Geek Slate.
Ooh, speaking of moments here, 20 seconds before this next Lord, and EVO's Icon starting things off with Ivan, using the Astro Out to try to check the bushes on the top side. So they know that Geek Slate is nowhere to be found on the top side, but based on the map here, they do see Beloyski kind of showing himself on the top side to potentially try and threaten the top inhibitor. So I guess this is go time for Evo's Icon to actually take the Lord right now.
Yeah,
They should, right?
I mean, I think that it's a little tough, right? They can start rushing it now, but if Geek Slate show up, that's when it slows down.
Well, in this case, Beloyski still showing himself up top. He might be able to steal it, but at the same time, Evo's Icon, they are going to hold Geek Slate hostage, but at the same time, it's dropping so low. Beloyski already taking an inhibitor up top. Meanwhile, the fight will be forced out. Hades will be the first of all. Doma immediately goes in for the kill. They take down the Landslot, and the Lord will be secured, but at the same time, they kill Hades, and look, they need to back out somehow. They only send one, which is Crit, and Crit is getting potentially destroyed by Beloyski, but no! Crit, he actually wins his 1v1, and now Geek Slate, they've lost everything in from this gamble. And now Kadera still holding on. Evo's Icon here, looking to close out the first game. They are at the doors of the Crystal. Kadera needs to defend on the bottom side as well. Veldora playing the safety net. They chip away the final inhibitor away from Gig Slam. But Ivan, he takes our boy down. Veldora tries to go to the wild charge. Kadera still holding on, but this is only a carry. Immortality pops up, but it doesn't matter. It's over. Evo's Icon takes game 1.
They take game 1, 30-15 against Geek Slate so far. A good start for the Evo's Icon boys. Now they've denied that momentum from Geek Slate. They were playing a little cold today, but Evo's Icon, they're all warmed up. They're ready. They are so sharp.
1 game away, but in this case, 1 game away to heading into the challenge season. Evo's Icon very, very close to that dream. However, for Geek Slate, it seems like it's back to the drawing board for them because they need to change up so much more based on how things are going down here. But so far, I like that they actually understood what the options were available, and they took a very risky gamble, and it just didn't pay out.
Yeah, it came down to execution, right? Every time you're looking to kind of catch the Claude after he uses that first BMI, that's the best time that you could look for to punish a Claude. But unfortunately for Baloy, they got some good reaction times from the side of Evo's Icon, right? Every time you see Baloy go for that jump, flicker in so they don't have the time to react, they're already out of there. So it's a little difficult to execute. I can totally understand, but that means that they need to start changing up the draft. Again, Mitsutar as that first pick, very big question mark for me. They even still got the Arlott for themselves at the end of the day. I think that the draft answered from Evo's Icon here was very smart. I think the Novaria, we should have suspected that a little bit earlier, but I think Claude basically untouched throughout this match.
To be honest, I think this is by far the best Novaria game we've seen so far on the English broadcast because Ivan was just playing out of his mind. His Astro Recall has been on point throughout the series, but I'm curious to see what items from the side of Geek Slate is because it feels like most of their, I would say, face check heroes are very squishy. So Luke going for a hybrid version as well. He's got the Hunt Strike, but it's still technically kind of full tank. Hades, hybrid as well. And then Beloyski actually having 1 tank item only.
Yeah, he just needs to protect himself from Ivan because look at Ivan's build, right? He's not going to scale because he's not going to get as much money as Crit. And you can definitely tell that he was catching up pretty quickly, right? He was getting a lot of kills, a lot of assists, so that really boosted his economy. But he decided to go for Enchanted Talisman into the Genius Wand and then tops it up with a natural combination of Holy Crystal as well as Divine Glaive. And it's nice that he has Dire Hit too because there's so many times where you see the Astral Recall projectile hit somebody but not kill them. They walk away with just like a sliver of HP. With that Dire Hit, not an issue.
Yeah, I'm curious to see. Actually, now that you actually bring out a very, very solid point as well. But personally, to deal with the Novaria, I'm not a big fan of this Athena shield. I would prefer the Twilight Armor a little bit better. But if they actually go for the Twilight Armor, that means Valentina is gonna threat free reign. So forcing to go for the Athena shield was a kind of very nicely. A soft low blow coming from Evo's Icon in terms of itemization.
They probably could have paired it up with one more thing, maybe a Radiant Armor. I think the Twilight Armor is a little hard to justify as well, considering what we saw from Evo's Icon. But overall, if you look at the stats, gold per minute is looking good for Doma, damage per minute is also looking good for Doma. Veldora taking so much damage, but he's quite the playmaker, right? Whenever he rotates, you can kind of see where he wants to initiate, and as soon as you think of it, he's already done it.
Yeah, it's so quick as well, but when it comes to Veldora, I feel like his Grok is just a big nuisance. And if you think about here, Geek Slate, they had no way to ensure the Farsa was able to do his own thing. But nevertheless, let's talk about the MVP of this match. Is going to be none other than Doma on this cloud from Evo's Icon. Perfect execution, great blazing duets thus far, catching the right targets multiple times here on the sides.
Yep, and that's the thing, right? When I said that Claude was basically untouched, yes, he died a couple of times, 2 times in a matter of fact, but more importantly so, he's able to kind of shred the entire comp of Geek Fam without really getting punished. And the only person who can do that is going to be Beloyski. So that was Doma's main concern. Second concern, the Feathered Airstrike. As soon as he sees it, he's got to keep in mind, if Beloyski has his ultimate, to get in and out of the fight without just, you know, going into the fight. Oh no, that's the King's calling. How do I play this? Pop the sprint and maybe outplay it? A little tough.
Yeah, but at the same time, there's just so much on Geek Fam's plate that they needed to handle in terms of that regards. But Doma, he definitely played it really well. He was able to win his find multiple timings to actually punish the rotations of Geek Slate with his blazing duet. He was able to actually get a couple of solo kills from time to time when major clashes is happening. And in the midst of the chaos, he's actually picking up multiple heroes one by one, and he was able to salvage that one small mistake coming from Evo's Icon down towards the middle turret, where the big final slash came in and just swept 4 players and taking away Ivan in that fight.
Yeah, and Doma was able to kind of help Evo's Icon kind of recover and not take that much damage. At the end of the day, they did have to sacrifice a couple of out-of-tier turns, but you can definitely see the problem, right? Beloyski, he tries to go for this big King's calling, and as soon as Evo's Icon spots him out on the map, they start dispersing. They know that they cannot just stick too tightly, if not, they're all going to die.
Yeah, and even this fight as well, the opening coming from Doma, he actually held on to Blazing Duet. And normal circumstances, if you drop your Blazing Duet from get-go, teams will immediately try to react to it, but when they couldn't, he just auto-attacked his way through, so that got him a lot of free value. So Kingslade was definitely disrespecting the power of what this Cloud can actually do because of this hybrid tank playstyle, right? So you're not exactly full tank, and you are susceptible to be killed by marksman very, very easily.
I would agree with you in that for that sentiment, but I think that Geek Slate, at the very least, even though they realized that the composition wasn't exactly the easiest to pull off against what Evo's Icon had, they still were making some smart macro decisions, right? Pulling attention into the side lane. Beloyski, honestly, the fact that they got to push that far out, forcing one of the members, I think it was Crit from Evo's Icon, had to recall very early on and then allowed Geek Slate to 4v4. But then the problem became that much evident, right? Nobody technically could stop the Claw.
Yeah, to be honest, when it comes to MVP-wise, I feel like Evo's Icon, they definitely deserve game number 1. I feel like not just Claude was the MVP, right? Not just Doma was pretty much the MVP. I feel like Ivan really kind of set up the earlier tempo for Evo's Icon very well with his Astro Recall. It's not just multiple times now.
Yeah.
He, throughout the entire, I think, first 5 minutes of the game, he was just, he stole the turtle. That's the biggest wow factor. He got a very sick kill down bottom lane. And while this is happening, most of his Astro Recalls was actually connected of low HP heroes denying their recalls, which kind of makes so much space on a macro aspect of the game, which is crazy if you think about it.
I mean, it slows people down a lot. It's the worst feeling in the world. It's like, okay, if I just recall right now, I'll get my life back, get my mana, walk back into lane, everything's gonna be okay. And somebody messes with you, oh, I get so frustrated. And I think that's the same feeling the Geek Slate is having right now after getting consistently hit with that many projectiles.
No, need I remind you that whatever I've just explained, it's very good at punishing timings on your opponents, but extremely difficult to pull off because the skill shot on Novaria is visually it allows your enemy to scout out where it's aiming at. So technically, it's still very hard to aim on a long distance shot.
Yeah, I mean, I think that at least with Geek Slate, right, you could see in their movements, they're not walking in straight lines after dying a couple of times in Novaria, right? They started implementing stutter stepping, they started implementing sidestepping whenever they had the opportunities, just in case, especially if they know that Ivan is in the vicinity, not necessarily visible, but you'll feel his wrath if you just walk straight.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's really disgusting to actually see his play. However, you know, seeing that on this English broadcast, I feel like that's the best Novaria I've seen so far. And it's only been, what, 3 days since his release on the official tournament game. And when it comes to the actual hero being released, it's about 2 weeks thus far. So I feel like that is a masterclass of a Novaria. I've not seen anyone play it at that level, but over time we will see more. But this is, I think, the benchmark for other teams to kind of say like, hey, maybe this is actually how you play Novaria. Can we get somebody with like 100% snipe rate, hit rate player to actually play it?
100% sniper.
Or a B6 player that actually played it. I don't know, man.
I mean, yeah, sure. I guess that's one way of looking at it. I feel that, like, even though it is a win, it's still a support Novaria, not a mid lane Novaria, right? It's a very different playstyle where you can constantly put pressure upon the map rather than just focus on, oh, I'm just going to sit in lane, wave clear, sit back, wave clear, now I'm going to move.
It kind of opens up that double mage roam would be the kind of the meta. It has been in speculation for a couple of seasons now. Once in a blue moon, we do see teams kind of adopt this playstyle. But so far, you know, Evo's Icon making it so convincing, and it's really rare to see this be completely dumpster, because I was expecting Geek Slate to have a little bit better in terms of early aggression when it comes to face checking or just overall just dominating map presence, right?
I think that is also due to the new rotations that they've been implementing, right? Having your mid laner go with the EXP, hit level 2, and then walk back into the mid lane, while at the same time, your support takes the entire mid wave, hits level 2, and then immediately is like, I don't need to be here anymore. It's all about making impact as soon as possible.
I guess it comes down to just, you know, enabling your XP laners, right? When it comes to the current meta trend in terms of first rotation. So I think this is something that you guys actually we kind of discussed as well as noticed between some of the teams in terms of prioritizing those first openings, right? But now, seeing the bans here, Novar still kind of just in there, kind of just completely ignored, but Evo's Icon, they will take a step back to actually ban off the land slot, showing respect. Geek Slate this time letting the Kadita through comparing to game 1.
I mean, they're on red side, right? It's the onus is not on them. They can counterpick very, very easily because Evos has that first pick. But the question is, what do they want to give over? Geek Slate, yes, they ban out that Claude because their initial game plan was correct. It's unfortunate that there is a hero that kind of bypasses that. It's difficult and very, very slippery. Evos Icon, now this first pick is going to matter a lot. I don't know if they're going to get the Mincetar like Geek Slate did in game number 1, but I feel like if they go for the Valentina opening, you can't go wrong.
I think going Valentina is definitely a safer bet here, but at the same time, I felt like the Mincetar throughout the entire game was a little bit underwhelming, but at the same time, because it was first pick, maybe, just maybe, you know, Evo's Icon was drafting a composition to deal with the Mincetar, but it didn't felt like that. So it feels like they have a little bit better idea on how to deal with it because of it, but Evo's Icon, they're not going for the Valentina.
They're going to go for the Fredrin again. I mean, this is one of Sutsujin's main heroes, right? Every time we've brought him up in terms of the stats, Fredrin is very closely associated. Geek Slate, once again, going to be going for the Mincetar. Now, what's great about the Mincetar's King's Calling, it stops all dashes, right? And let's really think about Fredrin. He's got 2 active abilities, he's got a taunt, and he's got his ultimate. The ult can only be used once he has max combo points. So think of it this way, right? If he dashes and connects on a target with the empowered auto attack, that's a combo point. You drop the King's Calling, you technically deny him 2 combo points. You can use the taunt to get the refresh, the cooldown discount, but you won't be able to dash.
Okay, based on what I'm observing here from Geek Slate, it feels like they want to play the same draft from game number 1, but with minor tweaks, right? Like, if you think about how game 1 went, the far side coming from Aboy wasn't able to do too much because Evo's Icon has so much ways to deal with it. You may it be the Astral Recall, may it be the Terrifies coming from Valentina, and maybe the Grok Walls to a certain degree. Having the UE drop the real ammunition kind of ensures that, hey, I won't get CC'd, my ult won't be cancelled. But at the same time, you know, with Kadita right in your face, yeah, my Rough Waves is going to potentially one-shot you with or without the real manipulation.
I agree. I think that in this particular case, not going for Kaja was the right play for the side of Evo's Icon, right? I feel that, like, with Kaja, and especially with the lineup that Geek Slate is going to be looking out for, it's very easy to get picked off and not get that follow-up from the rest of her teammates because it's just too hot of a zone, right? So at least with Kadita, she's more self-sustaining. She can kind of play like Natalia, get in and out of fights. You don't know when to expect her. You don't know what bush she's going to be in.
Yeah. Now, speaking of this as well, Geek Slate now opting to go for very, very similar drops from game number 1, just a little bit minor tweak. But I don't think Novaria will be picked from Evo's Icon again. It might happen, it might not. That's the big problem for me right now because I talk about this when it comes to conditioning, right? Because they're just like, hey, they're going to play Natalia. Oh, wait, they might be going to Saber. It has this mental picture that, hey, that might be something that Geek Slate will play. But after seeing how game 1 hand, double mages is something that Evo's Icon has leaned on a lot. And even on the stats here, they have played Kadita. They have played, I would say, now with the Novaria as a roam, so it kind of showcases that Evo's Icon is very comfortable in double mage compositions.
Well, let's see whether this is going to be that same case, right? Again, it's one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, you see the Eve, technically you can pretty much look for that big one-shot, but the shield comes into play, and then you have to recalculate the numbers, and then you have to start talking to Kadita as well. I think that's a lot of work. We'll see whether or not Evo's Icon wants to put that work in, but Geek Slate going to be banning out this Valentina to ensure that they at least don't start stealing abilities.
This is interesting, but at the same time, again, you know, Kickstand, they're just adopting to see. It's clear tells that, hey, we want to play the exact same playstyle from game number 1, but this time we are gonna ban off heroes that annoyed that draft. And in this case, the Grok was annoying. The wall charge was extremely annoying. Valentina with the Terrifying and the stolen King's Calling and stolen Final Slash coming in from crit has kind of annoyed the heck out of Geek State multiple times from game 1. So this is just showing respect onto him. And Evo's Icon this time, they ban off the Harif as well as the carry. I'm surprised with the carry, but the Harif as well though, huh?
They just want to make sure that this gold lane is going to be okay, right? I mean, carry can honestly get a little annoying to deal with, especially if you get ambushed by her. You won't be able to react in time. And let's keep in mind that Beatrix needs to kind of poke down her opponents first, and then look for the big burst with her ultimates, or the opposite way around. Really doesn't matter. But Geek Slate this time going to be locking in the Martis. What is he hoping to get here? Is he hoping that he's able to start the team fight and start getting kill resets with a Decimate? That's probably it, right? Or more so just to be able to kind of face check these brushes without getting CC'd.
I think it's more like they just want to go for a tanky composition that can actually deal with the Kadita. So like if you have 3 heroes, like 3 of them having Radiant Armors or even Curse Helmet to a certain degree, you can kind of block somewhat of the Kadita's one-shot, I guess. But more importantly here, based on Geekstat's performance from game number 1, they want to play heroes that can benefit from a hybrid build playstyles, right? Like half DPS, half tank playstyles. And these are 3 heroes that can actually adopt this kind of playstyles. But Evo's Icon, once again, they stick in with the Novaria. But interesting enough, they bring in the Baxiao as well. Jungle Baxiao?
I think it's going to be...
I think it's a Jungle Baxiao.
It feels like it's Jungle Baxiao, but then again, I'm looking at Geek Slate, it's like, okay, so it's going to be Arla, technically. Arla doesn't have a very good matchup into both Fredrin as well as Baxiao, because nothing really happens in that lane. Even if you decide to go for like Arla damage, for an example, right? It's very hard for a tank to make a mistake in the EXP lane that puts them down below 10% HP. It's unheard of.
Now that you think about it here, the Toys Person actually deals with the lifesteals coming from Arla, lifesteals from Mortis. It also kind of stops a little bit of the, I would say, regen potentially if Minstar decides to go get a little bit of lifesteals here. But final pick comes in. Wow, Melissa coming from Kadera.
I mean, it's not going to be easy because Melissa's biggest issue is dealing with these skill shots coming in from Ivan, and more importantly, so the Kadita basically takes her out of the game. Now, with multiple priority targets on the side of Geek Slate, how is Evol's Icon going to be knocking and approaching this new adaptive draft from Geek?
Now, when it comes to the playstyles here, I feel like Evo's Icon, they do have a little bit more of a safer approach because they are comfortable with this draft. But Geek Slate, once again, they don't really have a good answer to deal with the back lines, especially for the Baxiao. But of course, when it comes to mobility, they have all the ones in the world. So it all comes down to whether or not Beloyski is able to enable himself on this Spin Star compared to what things happen in game 1.
I think it should be a lot easier, right? A lot of the characters are pretty immobile. A majority of them are going to be either long range or already in your face, right? So I think for Geek Slate, pulling apart the composition from Evol's Icon, having the front line overextend while the back line can't keep up with that sort of tempo is probably going to be the game plan.
Well, it is going to be a do or die for Geek Slate. However, ladies and gentlemen here, this is going to be the final series for the first Open Finals. In this case, Evo's Icon one step closer to actually taking the series and making it into the next phase here. Evo's Icon going to be on the blue side and Geek Slate on the red side. Game number 2.
All right, let's see how these lane matchups are going to go. Both junglers starting on the top side of the map, and oh no, opposite sides of the map actually. So that means that Martis is going to show up by the EXP line while Baxiao will say hello to the gold lane.
Now, it seems like Geek Slate this time, did they get the little wonder? Oh, wow, okay. 80s was able to seal it this time. So a little bit of a better start compared to before, but Evo's Icon, it seems like they are trying to get a little bit more aggressive. So it is going to be a Baxia jungle coming from Sutsujin. And they are going to try and contest this. It seems like Loisky taking a little bit too much damage. He might be in a little bit of trouble here. Yes, he will go down. That's going to be a first blood for crit for Evo's Icon.
Yep, and Beloyski, unfortunately, having used this flicker very early on into the engagement, finds himself at odds against Evo's Icon. And so far, pretty good from Evo's Icons, right? Their early game has definitely been quite the standout for them, especially for these MDL teams.
Yeah, I think that's the thing about Baxia, right? Like, because of his shield, his second skill coming from Baxia, you can technically keep on spamming it all the way through in pre-level 1. It gives you a little bit, the shield unity kind of gives you so much mobility and rotate in between lanes, which gives you like a one step closer or faster compared to Geek Slate. So I guess this is just, you know, Evo's Icon trying to dictate their momentum and Geek Slate kind of stopping it. But with this first turtle in play here, Hades be getting aggro a little bit here, but Evo's Icon is already dead. They drop the Astro out as well. Here comes the two-man taunt. They are going to force the issue. Hades does have the Ashura, but does he win the retry battle? No, he does not. He misses by an inch, and Sutsujin will steal it away. Aboy getting picked off as well, but look at this. Sutsujin just manning up with his Baxia.
They back away. Oh, Hades.
Oh my god.
Health. He doesn't have enough gray health.
Oh no. Can he get out?
Wait, hold on. Keep your eyes on Ivan here. He might be able to do this.
I think they're going to try and kill him off. Now, oh my goodness. They do have the damage and they will pick him off in tier 2. Oh my goodness. Geek Slate just not having a good time at all in game number 2 again.
I thought there was going to be the Astral Recall that was going to kill him, but no. Instead, it was literally just the first ability. Veldora smartly walked back, went for the taunt, gets the attention of Luke, and he slowly walks back to auto-attack Veldora and is just taking full dot damage from Ivan.
Dude, Ivan is just taking advantage of his ultimate here. Like, instead of going close here, he gives him a little bit more time to actually rotate back to the mids in case things were going to be getting a little bit funky coming from Geek Slate, where if they try to make a play up top, but damn, he is always in position to help out in every single lane. Hades, he is gonna get scouted out a little bit here, but Geek Slate, they're still trying to draw away the potential from Evo's Icon.
Kadera, he's just going to be sitting in lane for a lot longer. Doma on the other side, pretty much exact same problem. They can't seem to crack each other's turret just yet, but it's still early, 3 minutes into the game. No, they're not going to be able to hit this, right? Yeah, they're basically, the mid lane as well as the jungle are basically playing around Baloy, right? They're looking for this pick.
Yeah, Baloyski needs to land the sickest hook ever, but in this case, this spear is going to be very difficult because he's going to get scouted by Crit. Oh my goodness, he is half the tankiness here. King's Calling comes in. It is going to stop Crit his way here. But at the same time, can he get out? He gets the regen in. Veloisky forced the flicker out there. But the rest of Evo's Icon, they want to extend the fight by Veldora. He made a mistake. He got pulled back by the final stash and he is going to die. Veloisky finally getting dive run by Sutsujin, so they trade 1-for-1 though.
A little bit unfortunate that that went into Geek Slate's favor, considering that Evo's Icon basically have full control, right? Turtle was spawning, and now Geek Slate have turned the tides and are in control of the map. Hades will be able to secure this Turtle, no problem. That equalizes him in terms of EXP against Susujin, and by the next clear, he should be at even level.
Yeah, this is smart. This is smart. Understanding they do not have the ult here, but Doma, he's going to try and man up against Kadera, but from behind, Crit, can they go for the finish the wall? The goal weight keeps him momentarily alive, but Crit, it doesn't commit to the kill.
Nice movements coming in from Kadera. I mean, Crit, he was.
Oh, he knew. He knew. Oh, no. Ivan, no.
Oh! That's unfortunate. The timing just could not have been worse. Half a second off there. Half a second. Loses his flicker in the process.
Damn, Kadera is on Ultra Instinct right now, but hopefully he will be able to scale back into this game. But now King's Calling coming from Veloisky. They are going to try and force Doma in, but they don't have the damage. He missed the spear, and here comes the counter snipe. Sutsujin on the shield unity. Doesn't want to continue this fight.
Oh boy, they're going to be backing off here for the time being. Speaking of boy, what is he doing all this time? Currently, he's got the Ice Queen's Wand finished and below Arla in terms of gold as well. Huh. Looks like the landing phase may not necessarily be as good as I thought it was.
This is gonna be close as well, but Kadera looking to win this 1v1 once again. Doma down to half HP, so this is a good time for Kadera, and you can see movements coming in from Geekslate. They are gonna try and prioritize on this gold lane, and Crit does scout this out. Evo's Icon gonna play this a little bit safe here. Geekslate, they want to try to set up with Hades, but I don't think they can as well. Evo's Icon was gonna be staring them, but once again they're shifting down towards the bottom lane. Suzuki scouts one. Here comes the snipe. Beloyski taking a fat chunk of this damage, and Evo's Icon giving chase, but nothing major is happening. Here comes the outcoming. They've got the slow. Doma got the snipe as well. Aboy taking the full run as well. He needs to get out. Finally problems the flicker. Finally gets out of it. And that should be all on this trade-off. But top side, look, wait a minute! They are going to go for 1v1. Okay. Very, very close calls here, but Veodora, is he going to go? Nah, that's fine.
Look, a lot of members from Geekslate are walking away with very little HP. Like, Ivan was even using the Astro Recall, going out of bounds of the map to try to get the snipe onto
Oh no, Crit is going to get caught out. Here's the bounce back. The gold wave comes in, but Crit does have the damage. He's going to extend it, and he gets a double. Geekslate getting caught between their pants.
Very good play here. They split Geekslate apart. You want to play as 5, we're not going to let you. We're going to affect every side of the map and maintain this lead until it ends.
Oh boy, Geekslate just haven't been able to find any opportunities in the setup yet, and Wojcicki is just not able to get any kind of hook at all, and because of this, Evo's Icon is just running rampant multiple times here. Now, having this tier 1 down bottom, top side is going to be exposed as well. I guess they are going to try and make the lane swap now coming for Evo's Icon?
I think they have, yeah. Since the tier 1 is still available, might as well, right? And you can see that Doma, he's going to clear the mid wave before he gets there, just to kind of buy that extra bit of time. As Veldora, currently, he's proxying the wave, right?
Yep, middle lane here, they force the fight here. King's Calling has been expected. The Geekslate, they found 2. Crit manages to take off our boy, but he needs to make a run for it here. But the decimation coming from Hades allows him that kill, so that's going to be 3 down just like that for Evo's Icon in the blink of an eye.
It seems that Beloisi found the King's Calling that he was looking for, right? He managed to lock up 3 people in the meantime. They weren't even able to get their battle spells up, but your predictions at home saying 63% that Geekslate is going to win this match. Evo's Icon at 37.
Well, as close as it gets, anything can happen. Kadera, we can run for it as well. Suzujin manning up for this fight, but this is a box here we're talking about extremely tanky, but he is going to be finding an opportunity. He makes it. He sets it up for Doma, goes in for the snipe, and Kadera's Ultra Instinct is no more there. But in this case, Evo's Icon, they will continue to suss out this top fight here. This wet noodle is getting a little bit risky here. Veldora trying to extend the fight. Emperor's Wrath does connect. Look, he doesn't have the mana. He might be in a little bit of trouble. He might die here. He is going to force a flicker out of it as well, and Veldora will be the winner in this top fight.
Nicely done. Blow a resource from your opponents there, and I think Kadera's Ultra Instinct was on cooldown, unfortunately. Didn't react in time. But then again, he's literally been doing this all game, and remember.
Oh, am I seeing this right? Crit, he's looking for the ambush. Nobody sees this. What? No, he actually got him. No, Kadera is dropping down pretty low. Yep. Cameraman, look at the Kadera. He's dodging his way through, but Crit, he is going to get taken down, and Kadera actually survives it.
Kadera managing to hold on as long as possible.
Oh boy, that is crazy. But with that play coming in, Evo's Icon with 4v5, this Lord Pit coming in, Geekslate is gonna try and contest it. The perfect opportunity. Doma with the snipes connects on our boy. They have vision of them, but the Lord down towards 40%. It is still to dance around the Lord as well. Suzuki makes his play. Toys Poisson comes in. Veloisky taking a little bit too much damage. Hades, he won't steal the Lord, but he will back out. Suzuki is trying to set out a play, but he's stranded all by himself. He gets picked apart, and Evo's Icon, they will lose one and the Lord.
They get the Lord on their side. Geekslate now having a really good opportunity to start taking this lead and locking Evo's Icon out, because right now the front lines are doing well, but eventually they're going to start scaling down, and in terms of range, you don't have that. Geekslate, unfortunately, on the other hand, they can sit there for days. They are waiting for Evo's Icon to make that very first move.
Oh boy, now Evo's Icon, you know, they are going to be in a little bit of backseat here. Geekslate, they finally adapted to this Novaria and Kadita playstyle, so eventually they need to try to find a scale this way, and with this Lord coming in, Veldora going to be caught out. They force a flicker in, but the models is still making work onto it as well. The Praise Wrath finally drops, but they are still going to kind of commit to this. Veldora getting chunked away here. The Real Blue will finally take him down, but Beloyski in the back lines, and the King's Calling, they catch 2. Doma will be able able to survive. They get the kill, and Ivan also finds the snipe on our boy. And just like that, Evo's Icon they get to middle lane. Gigslade trying to capitalize on this situation. Susujin is here to try and stall things around. Crit will be able to bait Luke out in this awkward position, and they find even more from Evo's Icon. But Hades, do not crit this out. He needs to run. He's fine, right? He's technically going to be fine. Susujin trying to give information, but he is going to try and steal the purple buff.
Oh, he will get this. He has Retribution, and unfortunately Hades does not. We saw him use it earlier, and now we'll take full advantage of that.
Oh boy, what a fight. What a fight indeed. But Gigslade seems like he got a little bit overzealous here. Let's take a little bit of the highlights there.
I mean, when we look at the highlights, what can we really say? The front to front, a very good idea. This is the composition that Geekslate wants to do, but Ivan has been finding these finishers here. Even though he's not an assassin, he's basically playing like one, landing the skill shots, going out of the bounds of the map to make sure he has the angle.
Yeah, there's no way you're going to block that, right? Like, how do you find a way to actually position to block that? Unless like you're like a Faramis or Farsa to actually fly it off. But even then, it was still going to be a difficult shot. So well done coming from Ivan for that play.
I mean, as the chat always says, how about you just don't get hit? How about you just don't die? You know, simple solutions, big impact.
True, big impact indeed. But now mid lane control is still in favor of Evo's Icon. They have a slight lead, but based on these items here, I do see double Radiant Armors coming from Evo's Icon to deal with the Eve, but one Radiant Armor on the Mortis to deal with the Ivan as well as the Khadida. So I don't think it's going to be enough, but they are going to try and bait reactions coming from Gigslade here from Evo's Icon. It seems like Susujin doesn't like the position. He will try and reposition down back.
It sounds like a good idea here, but Geekslate currently are up in tempo, right? Top side is slow pushing, bottom side is slow pushing. Beloyski is sitting by that top side just in case anybody wants to show themselves. And now Beloy is going to hard shove this because with the Lord already up, they need something to fight for. And if they can pull away one member from the side of Evo's Icon, that's going to be a win. A 4v5 is always a good advantage.
Oh my god, same scenario from game number 1, but this time Beloyski showing himself up top to shove the lane, and in this case Gigslade, they are going to try and take aggression away to buy time for that play. Evo's Icon, they're not committing the play yet, but they do have the vision. They suck out 3, but boy! Getting sniped, not 1 but 2 shots coming in from Crit as well as Doma, dropping him down half HP. He is going to try and soak his health with the Ice Queen 1 spell vamp, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Lord down towards half HP here, and Beloyski finally joins the wreck, but he gets scouted out by Crit. He's going to get bursted down, but he needs to flicker, but he flickers the wrong direction. He will eventually die, but he's going to try and make space here, but the Lord down was really, really low, but who gets it? It's going to be Susujin from Evo's Icon, and now the Astro All comes in, slowing them down. They're looking for the snipes. Boy, dropped him with 1 HP. He will survive and dodge the second snipe, but they will lose Hades in the process.
Unfortunate for Beloyski. The interception of Crit was a very good option just to make sure that the King's Calling wasn't going to start affecting the neutral objective itself. Get that fight started in that mid lane. Go and try for the pick, even if you've got to blow resources here. A lot of trust because Susujin still is a level ahead of Hades, so naturally his retribution is going to be bigger, and naturally he should be winning out these fights.
Oh, this is really, really hard to actually watch here, but with the Lord coming in on bottom side here, tier 2 is going to be exposed, and meanwhile, Evo's Icon, they've got so much room to work with, but in this case, getting scouted out for Crit means that Kicksland will have a rough idea unless they actually force the issue. Slow comes in, it is going to set up 2-man stun as well. A shot coming from Recall drops them low enough, but will be enough to set up for this Lord push here because Evo's Icon, they're looking for more. Beloyski takes a little bit more damage, but here comes the drop. They do go in for the fight, and the rough waves comes in. They do burst, and now Aboy somehow survives it, but Doma will chip away the turret here. But Evos, they want to go for more. Veldora with the appraisals. Raph finally finds Aboy, but can he get out? He doesn't, but at the same time, the damage has been done. One inhibitor fall, the second one to come. Kadera not even able to do anything because of the Astral Recall. Susujin getting caught out, but he's going to be able to get out. But Doma finds Hades, and he's going to go for more. Now here comes the snipe. Kadera, he sidesteps his way through, but Doma is threatening Crystal. He's looking to close the game here, but Gigslade, they can't do much. And Kadera, once again, taking the shot. coming in from Evos.
Man, both of these guys are just not missing too many of the shots. The backline has taken so much damage. Initially, I thought they were going to slowly, like Ivan was going to slowly poke down the front line, maybe put Arlet out of the game. But no, instead, he's just purposely going out of bounds, abusing that absolute recall to open up angles not accessible to a majority of heroes in the game, and have been looking, getting Beloyski low.
Oh, Sutsujin is going to get pulled back as well. Can he survive this? He's got the Totoy spawns, but at the same time, the Fire Slash comes in. He's going to survive! Grid! What a monster! He fights 3, he gets the triple kill, and just like that, Gigslade, they're slowly crumbling. They might lose it all. 5v2. It's up to Hades, and look at Evo's Icon. They are going to try and protest this, and they won't get it all. They're all dead. It's a wipeout, and Evo's Icon are your next team to qualify to the challenge season.
Let's go! Evo's Icon winning out their Ascension match, getting the qualification, a dub over a Tier 1 MPL team. Keep your eyes close on these boys. They've got so much potential.
Oh my goodness. What a way to close up the Open Finals. Evo's Icon taking a clean 2-0 sweep against Gigslade in a very, very convincing fashion.
There were a lot of scary moments in there, especially since Gigslade, and as well as that King's Calling being a deadly, deadly spell, Evo's Icon still triumph at the end of the day, landing pretty much every single skill shot. Open up the map, giving no space for Geek Fam to fight unless it was in a choke point, or unless Evo's Icons decided to let them have it.
A very, very difficult composition to play here, with both the Astro Recall as well as the snipes coming from Beatrix here. 2 very, very difficult skill shots to hit, and when it matters most, and I mean not even the moments that doesn't matter, every single time Evos hits the right targets, everyone from Geek Fam had no choice but to back up. They're giving away so much space, and it's just crazy, you think about it.
This is a poking composition, right? And this is a poking composition that has significant range that most of the time you're not going to be able to react to, or even if you try to preemptively think about it, it's just a constant nuisance to deal with. Ivan just throwing out those projectiles from the Astro Recall. Beloyski, unfortunately in this case, wasn't able to get as much value as he wanted to. There were moments where Geekslade were actually pushing back against the aggression we saw from Evo's Icon, and when it lands, the entire team from Evo's Icon will receive damage. That's where we see these 9 kills from Geekslade. But the 21 really boiled down to, did Doma hit a skill shot, or did Ivans hit a skill shot?
And on top of it all, they had to worry about what Crit is going to be setting up as well, because the moment you're focused on all the skill shots coming in from Beatrix and Novaria, Crit just came in the right moment, and you could see Geekslade was just like, oh wait, there's a Kadita. Oh no, we messed up, and it just got completely deleted from the game. And it's scary considering that there's so much things they have to worry about. And technically, based on the drafts coming from Evo's Icon, it's beautiful in theory, beautiful in terms of strategy. It's but extremely, extremely hard to pull off. Very, very high risk compositions, but when you pull it off, it is just one of the best rewards ever, because Gigslade couldn't do anything throughout the start all the way to the end of this game.
It feels like you're sitting in trenches and you're getting attacked by Motars constantly, right? You don't know when one is going to fall into your foxhole, but if it doesn't, you're going to have to try and shoot back somehow. Doma, once again, most amount of gold per minute as well as damage. The man is farming. Sutsujin, though, has taken the most damage as well as the most assists. And one of the game-winning plays coming in because Sutsujin was willing to die to set it up for Crit.
Oh boy, Sutsujin, you know, it feels bad as a Boxia, but that's the thing about Boxia, right? Like, even if you sit inside a King's Calling, it doesn't matter. So Toys Bazaar kind of negates everything, so it makes a lot of sense that he's able to buy so much time. And you can see that Gigslade was struggling to find crumbs and beats and pieces to get kills, and even in that final moment, it was Sutsujin that actually kind of set up the play for the team. Because of the fact that they were committing so many spells to kill this Boxia, eventually they will fall. Now, nevertheless, it is going to be our MVP from the side of Evo's Icon. It's going to be none other than Sutsujin once again.
There were moments where he was getting contested hard by Hades in these 50-50 retribution battles, but eventually Sutsujin comes out supreme. Instead of going even with Hades at even level, you know what? I'm going to play a tank that rotates way faster, farms way harder, and is able to scale really, really quick. Having a maintain an entire level lead against Hades through without that matchup definitely made the difference.
This is an insane game. DPM of 1,850 here. I would say that's okay, right? It's damage, right? It's not damage taken. I'm curious to see what his DTPM is kind of like. But at the same time, in case you missed out on action, this is a little bit highlights on how game 2 went. You can see multiple instances as well. There was just a lot of skill shots coming from both Ivan, Doma, and every single time it hits, Geek Slate is just put in a situation where they have no choice but to back out because so much of the health have been chunked out.
Yeah, so much of it, man. It's hard to deal with. It really is, because it feels like no matter what Geek Slate look to itemize, there's always something that's better out there, right? You go for the Twilight Armor, you're thinking, okay, maybe this is a good idea. Oh, no, instantly gets blown up there. You think Twilight Armor is gonna save you in some of these situations?
No, man.
It's rough because they layer it. EVOS Icon likes to layer their abilities, and they do it very well.
Yeah, this is crazy because Suzujin was the like the bit and crumb that Geek Slate was actually looking for here. They needed to get a kill to somewhat scale back to the game, and it was actually a bait. Suzujin had the immortality. They were all sitting and clumped up as well, and they were just so afraid, and they just weren't expecting Crit to actually go in for the kills. And eventually, that pretty much was the nail to their coffin, right?
Yeah, I mean, Kadera, he had two ways to look at, right? He was looking at the threat at hand that was coming towards him. He didn't realize that the Kadena was coming in at the same time. But with the getaway from me, if he did it just like slightly earlier, I think he would have been able to cancel out the rough waves, the second half of the ability, since he technically wasn't stunned.
Yep, but nevertheless, a clean 2-0 coming from EVOS Icon. Congratulations, ladies and gentlemen. EVOS Icon is your next team to actually qualify to the next phase here. And that means there is 3 Indonesian teams coming from the Open Finals and 1 Philippine team heading over to the challenge, the challenge season.
Yep, an entire season of Mobile Legends ready to be played, and we already have our qualified teams. I am just thankful that we have a team from Season 2 making it all the way, right? Like GPX, I'm very happy. We didn't get to see too many of their games, but I'm so glad that they're moving on to the next stage. Now, let's look at the recap the draft one more time, right? Because overall, the composition coming out for Geek Slate, this Mincetar first lock-in, first rotation, right? It's all about annoying your opponent, making your opponent think that maybe I won't be able to get some kind of good punishment, right? Fredrin, it's going to be difficult for him to stack his combo points in the middle of the King's Calling. Arlott, if it wasn't selected by Geek Slate, probably would have been one of the high priority picks for Icon, because we have seen their EXP laner pop off on it before.
Now, let's talk a little bit about the draft sequence coming in from both sides, right? Like EVOS Icon, they started things with the Fredrin. You talked about how, hey, Mincetar is a great way to do this combo, but guess what? I guess the intention coming from Geek Slate was that they were expecting this Freddy to be in the jungle rotation, and when the final pick box set came in from EVOS Icon, it kind of like, wait a minute, if I'm a roaming Mincetar, when will I be in the XP lane?
I think, let's keep in mind, Mincetar can be thrown into EXP too, and I think he has a very good matchup, in a matter of fact, against the Frederick. May not necessarily be the case against Lapu Lapu, right? So that's the thing that Geek Fam is worried about. With this opener, there's a bunch of risks that needed to be mitigated. I think it's a good situation to actually pull up, like banning out the Claw, for an example, was already great. But then if you start looking at the damage numbers, right? As much as you want to engage, you must get into a vicinity where you can hit the most amount of people at the same time. If not, it feels a little wasted, right? Look at that damage coming up from Navaria, topping the charge as a support. Is that 600? Yep, the ones are very close to each other. 611,000 worth of damage being pumped up from one guy.
Am I seeing this right? This is a roaming Navaria, right? So that's 61,000 as compared to a Kadita. But at the same time,
that's so dyslexic.
That's the thing, right? Like, how can a Roma hit this hard? And it's interesting enough because based on the itemization from Novaria coming from Ivan, he switched it up from compared to Game 1 and Game 2. Game 1, he started off with Enchanted Tasman and went in for Divine Glaive, and then he actually went in for the Lightning Trinket and Divine Glaive. But this game, he actually opted to go for Enchanted Tasman and 2 Holy Crystal and Divine Glaive.
Yeah, he needed the power now. He's not looking for power later on. It's about the item power spikes, right? Because if we're looking for getting a Lightning Trinket instead of going for a Holy Glaive, Holy Crystal or Divine Glaive, then you see a significant dip, right? Because it's all dependent on how much mana you actually have. So drop the Lightning Trinket. It's not like you need the extra bounce anyways. You just need that one shot to hit and one shot to instantly take somebody out.
Oh, I guess that's a pretty interesting way to actually put it as well. A very different approach from the traditional mage builds that I'm used to seeing. But it's definitely very interesting that because there hasn't been a set way of playing how the Novaria is. Because, you know, if we are talking about our pub games and leaderboards, majority of them still thinks that, hey, Enchanted Talisman, Ice Queen 1 is the way to go. Play it like a Yi, tech attack, because second skill is extremely hard to hit.
Yeah,
but
it's
if
standard.
you got the skill shot done, I guess going for, maybe
Cooldowns,
Trampion is pretty good. Going for Divine Glaive Burst is pretty actually decent.
We haven't seen a utility build just yet, but I do like that this kind of like converts both of those, right? You're not looking to wait to scale for the later stages of the game, like in Clock of Destinies, it just takes too long as a support. So going for the Enchanted Talisman, and then you pair it up with other things, it could technically still be like, you know what, I could have gotten a Glowing Wand if I wanted to. I could have gotten an Ice Queen Wand if my team needs to kind of chase my opponents down. So I think that Ivan is definitely on the right idea here. I don't know what it's going to start looking like during MSC.
Oh boy, that's gonna be a completely different ballpark, right?
It really will be.
Because like this is pretty much the week before MSC as well. We will be continuing the challenge season right after MSC, so technically it is gonna be very scary if you think about it.
I think it'll be interesting to see. It's going to affect the drafts, but how much it's going to affect the drafts, because I don't think it's going to affect the bans per se. But I do think that the pick order, a couple of more draft openings have been enabled. So, well, I'm ready to theory craft with Zahn later on.
Exactly, but at the same time, I think Hellcat was pretty much banned throughout this entire week as well. So maybe Hellcat could have been a factor
for sure.
to deal with Novaria. So,
man.
I think during MSC is where things get a little bit more spicy. I'm excited to see if teams are going to take advantage that, hey, Novaria out as well as Hellcat out's interaction. How is it going to look like? Because it comes down to a stage where Vision game is going to be back towards the meta if you think about it.
I don't know. It's something that we're going to have to test out. A lot of teams are going to be testing out as well.
Yep, but before that here, we are going to be announcing our 4 teams that is going to be heading in towards the challenge seasons here. From the Open Finals, the top 4 teams who've advanced thus far is going to be from Indonesia. We have GPX, Aura Fire, as well as Evo's Icon. And the only Philippine team that made it by, of course, a technicality, we have Archives Esports. Ladies and gentlemen, these are your 4 teams after 6 brutal and long days that has come. These are your final 4.
Yeah, people said, oh my goodness, oh, this format, how are we going to get past it? It's basically a battle royale. We've put everything in one place and let MLBB be the language that they speak. And now, with these 4, we're keeping an eye for them as they move on to the next stage. Hopefully, they're going to be making it all the way, because they put so much work. Look at the stages, how many teams that they had to beat or potentially fight against to get to where they are.
Oh, Swiss stage format. I've never seen this format before used, but for the first time here on SBS, we showcase you how brutal competitive esports is going to be looking like. The amount of teams that had to play through this, and the grind as well, the caliber of teams that have played here to finally make it into the top 4. But that's the thing, it may seem long here. The challenge season is going to be even longer. And it's scary, because now we are going to show you how the challenge season is going to be looking like. Because with this 4 teams coming in, they are going to be facing off with the invited teams from the other MPL regions, which is Blacklist International, RSGPH, Brand Esports, Team SMG MY, Homeboys, Yudo Red Giants, Team Flash, Bleed Esports, Alter Ego, RRQ, Bigatron Alpha, and CFU Gaming.
Man, I'm seeing a lot of second place, third place MPL finishers here, and
boy.
that's scary. GPX, Aura Fire, Archives Esports, and Evo's Icon have battled out for 6 days, brutal days in a matter of fact, just to qualify to face off against the upper, not the creme de la creme just yet, but
the upper echelon.
The upper echelon, the 1%. We're not even at the 0.1% just yet.
It is going to be a raw one as well, because even in this roster as well, they are going to be competing for a total of 6 slots. So they are going to be divided into 4 groups during the challenge season, and these 4 groups, the top seeding of each group will directly get the qualifications to the challenge finals. And once that happens, the remaining teams will have a last chance qualifier, and in that last chance qualifier, they will only 2 teams will have the chance to make it into the challenge final. So it is, like I said, a different version of the Swiss format.
Exactly. Exactly. So ideally, you qualify from the groups rather than have to face 12 other teams once the 4 have been qualified just to get to your LCQ, your last chance qualifiers. So I don't know how these teams are going to do it, right? It's out of my hand. I'm extremely stressed out for all of our open final teams, but good luck to them as the invited challenge season teams are no pushovers, not at all.
Oh boy, the first and second place from each group has a chance. Wow, you have to make it past the group stages first and go through the second last chance. Oh my. I don't know how to stress this enough to all the 4 teams that made it from the open finals. I am sorry to give you so much stress, but I sincerely would like to wish all 4 teams the best, because if any one of you who makes it into the challenge finals, you are making history for Mobile Legends Bang Bang. But of course, if you guys want to witness this history with us, there is going to be tickets available. You can watch it live on the Snapdragon Mobile Challenge Finals MLBB on the 21st to the 23rd and July for the finals at Istora Senayan, Jakarta.
Yep, we previously had M4 there, so if you missed that out and want to check out the venue, this is a good time or a good excuse to skip your work and head on over. The tickets are going to be starting at 20,000 rupiah. Honestly, not that bad. Very affordable from considering the level of gameplay and the amount of content you're going to be provided with.
Exactly. We're only 20,000 rupiah, man. Come on, if you're planning a vacation, and I'm hinting a certain Singaporean caster who could have made it a proposal there, here, and
Abstract?
there. And why'd you gotta spoil it? But
because he's already engaged.
He already did it. But of course, if you have ever an idea here, you can always talk to the organizers. I'm just hinting, even though it might not happen. I'm just, blowing my horns here. But of course, if you guys are excited for this event, there is still another one as well in Cambodia, which is MSC 2023, which is going to be happening next week. Regular ticket sales are going to be available, and of course, free registration if you kick off now. All you gotta do is just scan the QR code, secure your tickets now.
Yep, secure your tickets early. That way you can start booking your flights early and save a lot of cash. Because let me tell you, the closer it is to the day, the more expensive these tickets are going to get. And if you are going to talk to the organizers about doing a proposal, just make sure that the partner is going to say yes. It's really uncomfortable for everybody if they say no on stage, on live stream. That's too much.
Now that you mention it,
you didn't even think of that.
That is actually kind of scary, Like, imagine like if it's broadcasters on international stage, and if actually that happens, and then get rejected. That's gotta be the biggest heartburn ever.
It would be quite the heartburn in the matter.
Only for the strong-willed, only for the strong-willed to make that proposal. Oh boy.
All right, with that being said, let's have a quick shout out to all of our sponsors, making sure that this Snapdragon Elite Pro Series is going to be as good as it gets. And obviously, we gotta thank Snapdragon. It's in the name, it's in the title. Snapdragon Elite Gaming, when winning matters, when you want to get that edge, when you want to be looking for, you know what? You don't want to do the research. I'll just give you the recommendation right off the bat. The Samsung Galaxy is available for you guys with a new flagship phone, the Galaxy S23 Ultra. You've always had big hands, don't worry. Samsung Galaxy has got you. Always been wondering whether the camera is going to be good enough. Samsung has got you. And when that pisses you off, you got to be able to unleash that beast within you to make sure you're part of that 0.1% of the crew. So unleash the beast with Monster Energy Drink. And if you're looking to be like, you know what, I want to bundle it all up, I want to get it all in one go, let me recommend you the courier of our day, DHL, one of our sponsors here at the SPS. You can take part in their FEBot Dash Cup and win, well, I don't know, an extra 5,000 euros. I was trying to convert it in my head. It's a whopping number in ringgit. It's a whopping number, let me tell you that.
Is it times 4 or times 5?
Look, we'll talk about it afterwards because it's that large of a number. That or I'm bad at arithmetics. Either way, thank you to all of our sponsors for making this happen. Mobile Legends history in the making, one step at a time.
Exactly, and in this case here, we hope you guys have enjoyed yourselves thus far for the SPS Pro Series. It has been a pleasure casting for you in this past 6 days here from all the casters on behalf as well. And of course, before we close things out here, anything final words here, Greeted?
Final words, see y'all at MSC.
they're here making another statement. They deserve this celebration. 3G well played. North America has come.
Welcome to Mobile Legends, starting off 2023 with a huge bang. The M4 World Championship by Mobile Legends Bang Bang Esports achieved one of the highest peak concurrent viewerships of 4.2 millions, setting the tone for the year. And with the MPL seasons and official tournaments going underway in their respective regions, we know that fans across the globe wanted more. Taking place in Phnom Penh, the vibrant capital city of lovely Cambodia, for the first time in MSC history, this year's cup will include non-C representatives. And why do this and include international teams? The objective is simple: to improve MLBB esports level and ecosystem, evolving an established regional brand into an international championship, one without borders. MSC 2023 is a testament to the increasing demand and support from fans across the world. #SeeTheWorld. We will work hard to elevate the tournament level and increase our esport competitiveness. With that, do look forward to witnessing world-class MLBB esports in Phnom Penh this June. See you there, and see the world.
The Snapdragon Pro Series powered by Samsung Galaxy is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, Monster Energy, and DHL.
Won't stop going till a player on top know it. Rooftop penthouse suite. If you really want it, gotta own it. Fight through it, we was at the lowest. Blood, sweat, tears, the components. Riding all year, now's the moment. We are not friends, we are opponents. Yeah, I'm coming for mine. Yeah, I'm making a play, the game on the line. Yeah, I've been on the grind. Yeah, I jump in the spot, I made it my time. Yeah, look in the sky. Yeah, the stars align, no shade to shine. Can't stop it already. Emotional work and devotion, we put in this time. Look.
You won't stop.
La 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 la. Bin immer happy auf Fotos, doch im Blitzlicht der Strobo frag ich mich schon, wo du jetzt bist und vermiss dich so. 1000 Augen auf mir und ich schein immer zu lächeln und glücklich zu sein. Doch ohne dich fühle ich mich zwischen tausenden Leuten allein. Nur mit dir kann ich sein, wie ich bin. Nur mit dir, wir tanzen so.